Why, hello everybody, and welcome to Two Buddies and a Lot of Conspiracies. Eddie, what do you think of this image? Do you know anything about this image? No, right?
No,
Do you know?
no,
I
no.
picked. No idea. You're just happy you're in a sombrero.
Of course, that's the end goal right there.
Said, and we're in a field. We're touching grass. So this is this here is an image of Rudolf Hess in his plane flying over Scotland for his thing, because that's it's interesting. But yeah, these are, I told it to make Scottish uniforms for World War II. I didn't double check how accurate it was, but they look close. And then the castle that he was supposed to be flying to, or at least supposed to meet at, is the castle behind us there, and we're in some farm field. Where's actually where he landed, or at least the plane landed. So yeah, very interesting. I do like your sombrero. It does look nice. It doesn't really fit the outfit, but they made an exception for you.
Sombrero always fits the outfit. The
I
only
mean,
thing I'll point out is that it doesn't have the colors on the edge.
that's
You know what I
true.
mean?
Well, you're in a military mode, so you can have big flashy colors to be spotted by the enemy.
Yeah, you are right. You are right. Like a big pointy
See?
sombrero is not gonna give it out, you know.
No, not
Like it
one
really
bit.
changes.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Oh man. So let's go into what we're gonna talk about today, because today we have two interesting ones for sure. Chapters 31, which is Rudolf Hess, and 32, which is HIV/AIDS. What I'll just ask you right out. What do you know about both of those topics?
Rudolf Hess, is that how you say it?
Rudolf Hess, yeah. Yeah, you're probably gonna have
Nothing.
fun
That.
reading some of the names.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. There we go again.
Yeah, I bet you
That's
will.
always the best. That's always the best.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. You gotta fucking love those.
So I'll try to help you as best I can, but I don't know
Said
how
I'll
well
try
I'll do.
to.
Yeah.
Said I won't let you die alone. Like
Nah,
I got you.
I'll try
I
to
got
fall on the sword a little bit with you. Um, but yeah, so we are going to be talking about these two subjects: Rudolf Hess, which is from World War II, and HIV/AIDS, which was from like the 70s into the 80s. And topics that we're going to do for Rudolf Hess, we're going to have a little bit of information about him, the mission that he went on. Then we got an info vid, which is going to put it all together nice and neat. Then about his death, which is very interesting. Then I have a theory vid in here, because after I saw this, I'm like, this kind of makes sense. And then we're going to talk about the world wars, the leader changes, like what happened at the end of the world wars. Then the World War
you.
II
Okay.
outcome and power shifts, because that's something that most people don't normally think about whenever you're thinking about going through these wars. Then we got HIV/AIDS. We're going to transition there. We got origins, what they say the origins are, a little bit of information there, and then an origin clip.
Monkeys.
That's right. That's what they say. It's all the monkeys. So you'll actually.
You want to know something funny? Like I
Uh,
remember being a kid and hearing about that. Like I necessarily didn't know like what it was, or you know I was young
oh yeah,
when this
yeah.
like started like popping up. But yeah, I always remember like listening that it was like people doing stuff with
Having
monkeys
sex
or
with
something
monkeys.
like
That's what it
yeah,
was. They were
something
having
like
sex with monkeys, and now they have AIDS. It's like,
that.
I, I mean that just seemed so ludicrous to me. And then for it to outbreak in New York City, but whatever. Like,
Yeah,
I
well,
guess there's a lot of
that's what
African
they say,
monkeys
you know.
in New
We
York
gotta
City.
believe what they say.
That's it. I do the videos I have. I actually only have. I've got two on the first one, two on the second one, and the two on the second one. The first one's just really quick, about the origin clip, and then the other video in here is a little bit longer that kind of gives a little more information. But both of them are actually from the Strecker Memorandum. It was a video that was put out by Dr. Strecker, talking about AIDS and HIV. And so I've got his video in there. Again, all clips, all the videos that we got in here, I will have in the description so that way you can watch them. But yeah, so origins, we will talk about the monkeys. Origin clip, we will talk about the monkeys. And then totals and locations, and then correlations or possible correlations. Then the video. Then money made and cost, which I think when you see the figures on that, you're going to be like, oh, really? Okay. Then funding, then Fauci, because, like, you heard of Fauci because of the 2020 nonsense, right?
Hmm.
Did you know he had a big hand on, like, the AIDS stuff?
No, I did not know that.
Okay, so there's a little bit of information on him. And then U.S. government experiments, because everybody should know about those. So I just have like a quick thing, and all of it, of course, is the same, just like before. But it's just Google AI telling us, what they probably shouldn't. And then we close. So, any questions you got before we maybe roll into? Oh, probably reading the book, right? Yeah, probably. What do you think? What kind of questions you got, Eddie?
No, no, no. Just like AIDS and HIV, like it kind of like
It's a very sad,
apart
touchy,
from like
weird subject that you can't really go too hard in, right?
apart like from the Fauci thing, like the other things, like I kind of have an idea. Like the topic that I'm like going completely in the dark is Rudolf Hess.
Well, you're probably going to be a little surprised at both of these topics for what I got to show you, but as far as yeah, Rudolph Hess, nothing at all.
No, no.
Okay, that's good news. That's good news. And where was the threat level for Mr. Eddie? It was 8.4, no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
You are correct.
All right, good. I'm trying to just do this from memory. So, so Eddie is 8.4 threat level as of present, and we're gonna see if we can move the dial on him. I honestly don't know with these two topics, especially one you don't know really nothing about. I might, I might with the leader changes thing. That might be like an eye opener for you. Because I don't know how much they really taught a lot of that with the world wars in school that they teach. They don't really teach much. And the other issue too that we're running into is history's written by the winner, right? Like the winner of the war writes the history.
Yeah, that
So
was funny when you told me that, like a few videos ago.
yeah, it's
Like
totally true, man.
they said, I remember when you told me, if you think about it, the winners are the ones that write the story. And I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
That
Losers
is
are
true.
dead, or they can't talk about it.
Like that is 100% factual. Like I never thought of it that way.
It's
It's
nuts,
fucked
man.
up.
It really
Yeah.
is. It really is. Um, all right. Well, let me start then with reading Rudolf Hess, which, believe it or not, where do we go from? What's the page? 60 to 6. 61 to 69. So he actually wrote like 8 pages for Rudolf Hess. So just as an
Really.
FYI, yeah, I know I'm kind of surprised too. But so Rudolf Hess, Scotland, the late morning, because we're supposed to be in Scotland. Scotland, the late morning of 10 May 1941. Out of the spring sky to the east, a lone Me-110 German fighter, that's what I'm pointing at there, German fighter appears over Glasgow and circles unhurriedly as though searching for something before its pilot bails out over the village of Eaglesham, sure, to the south of the city, on his apprehension on the ground by local On his apprehension on the ground by local soldiers, the Luftwaffe pilot announces in English that he is Captain Alfred Horn and adds, "I wish to see the Duke of Hamilton. Will you take me to him?" A few days later, Captain Horn is revealed by the British authorities to be none other than Rudolf Hess, the Deputy Fuhrer of Germany. Hitler, from Berlin, denounces Hess as a madman who stole an aircraft to go on a private peace mission. The British confine Hess until immediately after the war, when they too claim Hess is mad, but not too mad, sane enough to stand trial at Nuremberg for war crimes. There, despite his sanity, Hess is unable to recognize fellow Nazi bigwigs and betrays little recognition of events in his own life. Nevertheless, he is sentenced to life imprisonment in Spandau and dies apparently by his own hand in 1987, aged 93. British documents relating to the case are put under lock and key for 65 years. So that's always good. So that let's read. You always got to trust the government when they're like, nope, you can't see it for 60 or 75 years. Then I'll just read the last two. Last two paragraphs and then his alert level. So Wolf Hess, the Deputy Fuhrer's son, is certain his father was murdered, and he believes he knows who did it and why. For Wolf Hess, the prisoner in Spandau was, to his satisfaction, his father, and he dismisses the doppelganger theory outright. To him, the inconsistent and missing records are merely evidence of the British tendency towards inefficiency and cock-up. That's actually how it's spelled. Under pressure from the Soviet Union and a worldwide humanitarian campaign, Hess was about to be released in late summer 1987. Now, when I Google searched that, they actually said, no, it wasn't going to happen. But they said in this, it says Hess was about to be released in late summer 1987. This, the British could not allow, because the released Hess would have revealed the full details of the peace proposal with which he flew to Britain in 1941. So Hess was murdered by two soldiers from the SAS, according to several sources, infiltrated into Spandau. Of course, if prisoner number 7, that's a good number, was the Hess doppelganger, he still would have required termination, precisely because his identity as the false Hess could not be allowed to be discovered. Dead doppelgangers tell no tales, which is true. And then his alert levels. Was Hess murdered to prevent his disclosing that his 1941 mission was official business with a peace wing of the British establishment? Alert level 9. So he thinks so. Was prisoner number 7 a doppelganger of Hess? Alert level 5. So, on the basis of doppelgangers, like, take 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and take a look at, like, other political leaders or, dictators and see about their doubles. Like, take a look. You will find that a lot of them do, in fact, have doubles.
Yeah, and then like you saying about that, like me going back to when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I always remember like they used to make jokes about it, like Osama bin Laden,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that he had just like doubles on doubles on doubles on doubles. Like it was just like an ongoing joke that it was like
Oh, yeah.
everybody's
Kill
going
this
about
guy,
it.
and then another one pops up, and kill that guy, another
Yeah,
one
yeah,
pops up. Absolutely. They
yeah.
got them. And now, honestly, with the masks that they have, you don't even need to have
Oh
someone that's
yeah,
a
sure.
lookalike anymore. Now you can just tell some
100%.
clown to just put a mask on and go stand out there to get
Mhm.
shot. That's it. Uh, it's crazy. It is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, so apparently he went on some secret mission. That's what at least the story that we're told. He went on a secret mission to go tell to go try to make peace. And Hitler was against it. I don't trust anything that the government's telling me anymore. Like I'm done trusting what these guys have to say. And as far as like we just mentioned, doppelganger, possible. Possible. As we get into it, it's going to seem even weirder as we keep reading. That's for sure. But any questions or anything you got before we go into the first thing, which is info on Hess?
No, let's go right into it.
Okay. So, which would you prefer, left or right?
I think it's only appropriate because last episode I said all you left to do the right.
All right, he wants the right.
I
He
think I
doesn't know
deserve.
what's in store, but okay.
Oh fuck!
No,
All
I'm kidding.
right,
It's
whatever.
actually pretty even on both sides, I think, through the whole thing. So we'll be all right. We'll
And
be all
that's
right.
what you say right now, but we'll
That is,
see.
I may forget. There might be a couple that are harder on the right, but that's all right. That's all right. We'll make Eddie do it. So this here was kind of interesting, and this is where I asked the question I did, which should throw off like some alarm bells. How did Rudolf Hess become a German Nazi being born in Egypt? Right?
Wow,
Like,
that sentence alone makes no fucking sense.
right? Because here's the
Yep.
thing. Don't you remember, like, the Germans were just super German and whatnot? Now, it'll explain it as we kind of go through, but I still don't trust it because it was also the thing that bugged me about the whole Nazi thing was the Aryan race and blonde hair, blue eyes, right? Don't you remember hearing that?
Yep.
And that, but it's like all the
Everyone
leaders
does.
didn't have any of that. Like they all had dark hair, dark eyes. Okay. So, story number one checked off. But okay, so Rudolf Hess became a high ranking Nazi despite being born in Egypt by returning to Germany for education, serving in World War I, and embracing extremist nationalism in Munich. As a son of a wealthy German merchant in Alexandria, he moved to Germany for schooling at 14, later becoming a committed disciple of Hitler and Deputy Fuhrer. Origins and education. So, birth in Egypt, born to wealthy German parents in Alexandria, Egypt, which almost, I'll just stop right here. Being born in a wealthy family, you think that's probably why he was like number two in charge there? Maybe. Part of the British occupied Ottoman Empire, he was raised with a strong German identity rather than an Egyptian one. German education. Hess attended a German school in Alexandria until age 14, followed by boarding school in Germany and a business academy in Switzerland. Radicalization and Nazi
Yes.
rise. World War I. Returning to Germany, he joined the German army, serving with distinction as a pilot and earning the Iron Cross. The post-war German humiliation deeply influenced him. And they probably did. It was all fucked. Munich and radicalization. Wait. Yeah, Munich and radicalization. After the war, he studied at the
Yeah.
University of Munich, engaging in nationalist politics and joining the anti-Semitic Thule Society. You know what the Thule Society is?
No.
Take a look at the Thule Society. It's kind of interesting. Um, they were like conversing with aliens. Meeting Hitler in 1920 in Munich, he met Adolf Hitler and became one of his earliest and most devoted followers. Beer Hall, Putsch, sure, and Mein Kampf. He participated in the failed 1923 Beer Hall Putsch and served time in I don't know what that is. And served time in Landsberg
Oh
prison,
god.
where he helped Hitler dictate Mein Kampf. Deputy Fuhrer, he became Hitler's private secretary, and by 1933 was appointed Deputy Fuhrer, managing the Nazi Party. His upbringing in Egypt actually led to an admiration for the British Empire, which influenced his abortive 1941 flight to Scotland to negotiate peace. So that's, a little bit of info on him. So now you got this one.
Yep. What power did Rudolf Hess have? As Adolf, Deputy Führer from 1933 to 1941, Rudolf Hess held significant, though often nominal, power as a top Nazi Party official, handling party matters and acting in Hitler's name. He was key in creating party structures, was appointed to the cabinet, and was second in succession after Goring.
Goring, yeah.
However, his practical influence waned as war approached, and he was sidelined by figures like Bormann and Himmler. Key power dynamics and positions. Deputy Führer, 1933 till 1941. As Hitler's deputy, Hess handled our party matters and had the authority to make decisions in Hitler's name regarding party leadership. So he was like very important, I
He
guess. He had a
was,
lot of power.
yeah. He was a big guy. Like, you think he wouldn't fuck that up, but okay.
Cabinet position. As a Reich minister without portfolio, appointed to 1933, he had authority to approve all legislation
Hmm.
suggested by other ministers before it became law. Line of succession. In 1939, Hitler declared Hess second in line of succession to lead the Nazi state, behind only Hermann Göring. I got a question after
Yeah,
I'm done reading.
okay.
Administrative authority. He ran the party chancellery, giving him immense administrative control over Nazi party personnel and organization. Limitations and
Chancellery.
job.
Party chancellery.
Limitations and waning influence. Marginalization. Sorry. Despite his high
Marginalization.
title, marginalization. Despite his high title, Hess was frequently sidelined during the late 1930s. His power waned as military and foreign policy decisions, dominated by Goring and others, took precedences,
Precedence. You said it right the first time.
precedence, sorry,
Precedence.
over over party over
Learn how to
party
read with Eddie
administrative
and James.
matters. Power struggles. Top Nazi leaders like Martin Bormann actively worked to undermine Hess' influence, taking over many of his administrative duties. Sidelined in wars. When World War II began, his role became largely ceremonial or focused on low level administration, causing him to seek a major diplomatic coup
Cool.
by
Yeah.
flying to Britain in 1941 to restore the status. Oh, the only thing that I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Hitler was not like the guy to like trust a lot of people, right? Like he didn't have
He just
he
had
didn't.
like an inner circle, but I mean,
Yeah, right.
it'd be like anybody really who's in charge, and you gotta. I remember I've seen some documentaries that were like, he was always worried about this guy trying to kill him and take over, and this guy trying to kill him and take over, and these were people in his inner circle. So yeah, I mean, I would assume he probably. But anybody who's, like I said, top level, you're in charge of everything. It's just like being in a gang, right? Like it'd be the same
Pretty much.
same kind of fucking thing. Or you're the gang leader. Guess what? If you treat one of your guys badly, or he thinks that he can make more money than you, he might kill you and just take over.
But yeah, that was it.
Okay. So yeah, let's go to the next thing then. Here is Rudolf Hess's mission. Just because it's like, all right, they're talking about it. Let's see what Google AI has to say about Rudolf Hess's mission. So, Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy Führer, undertook a secret solo flight to Scotland on May 10, 1941, attempting to negotiate a peace treaty between Germany and Great Britain. His goal was to end the war on Germany's terms to avoid a two-front war before the planned invasion of the Soviet Union. He aimed to bypass Winston Churchill and negotiate with high-placed figures like the Duke of Hamilton. Key details of the mission include motivation. Hess believed a peace deal would prove his loyalty to Hitler and improve his dwindling influence. He wrongly believed the British were eager to negotiate and that a peace faction existed. The flight. Hess personally piloted a Messerschmitt Bf 110 from Augsburg, Bavaria, to Scotland, navigating alone before running out of fuel and parachuting to safety near Dungavel House. That's that mansion behind us. The proposal His plan demanded a free hand for Germany and Europe in exchange for maintaining the British Empire, essentially asking Britain to surrender its role as a European power. Outcome: the British government, led by Churchill, treated Hess as a prisoner of war and did not take his peace overtures seriously. Hitler's reaction: Hitler, upon hearing of the flight, was furious and claimed Hess was suffering from a pacifist delusions or a mental illness. He claimed he had no prior knowledge of the plan. I don't trust that at all, but whatever. Following his crash landing, Hess was imprisoned in Britain for the duration of the war, later convicted at the Nuremberg trials and sentenced to life imprisonment in Spandau prison.
Was Rudolf Hess a monarchist?
Yeah.
Rudolf Hess was not a monarchist in the traditional sense of seeking to restore the German Kaiser monarchy.
Kaiser.
Instead, he was a devoted national socialist and the loyal deputy Führer to Adolf Hitler. However, Hess did hold specific, somewhat delusional views regarding the British monarchy and nobility that influenced his actions during World War II. View of British aristocracy. Hess believed that a significant portion of the British aristocracy and monarchy were pro-Nazi, or at least against the war with Germany. Misunderstood power. He incorrectly imagined that the British monarchy held real, significant political power and could, for instance, remove Winston Churchill and end the war. 1941 flight. In May 1941, Hess flew to Scotland in a personal mission to meet the Duke of Hamilton, aiming to initiate peace talks that he believed will gain backing from royal or high-ranking British circles. Devotion to Hitler. Hess' core political belief was absolute devotion to Hitler, not a hereditary.
So you should have picked the
hippopotamus. Monarchical system for Germany. While some Nazi figures they have some ties to aristocratic families, such as Prince Philip or Hesse, and some German and some German conservatives initially believed that Hitler will restore the monarchy. Hess himself was fully dedicated to the Nazi Party leadership structure.
Which is interesting, right? Because, like, why would he go to these people to try to set up peace unless... see, that's where I feel like there's something weird about this whole story, you know? Like, it doesn't really make sense. Even, like, this whole bit doesn't really make sense. Why he would go during wartime, go fly all the way over to Scotland to try to meet with this Duke and not meet with Great Britain, you know, not meet with Churchill. He wanted to bypass Churchill. Why? Because Churchill was a war hawk or something? Or there's something missing, you know? There's something missing between all this. There's something weird.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, 100%.
It doesn't fit right. What are the questions you got?
Like it's like everything is okay, but something doesn't make sense.
It's yeah. No, it definitely something off on the whole thing. It smells fishy or something, you know? Like, okay. Like, I want your proof though, and don't just give me this bullshit. The Smithsonian Magazine. Those guys are liars. Liars. Yeah, they hid the giant bones. You know that, right? The Smithsonian.
They had the what?
The Smithsonian actually is. We had the giant bones in the Smithsonian, and they hid them. They actually took them off, so you can't go view them. They're in a special place. Yeah, look at giants. You'll spend an afternoon looking at giants and trying to find giants on Yandex. Yandex.com. It'll help you. You'll actually get somewhere with it instead of looking on Google. But yeah, any other questions for the next thing, which I think is a video?
I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, this is a video. It's a good year. I like this year. This year's great. But
Was it the year you were born?
yeah, that's it.
How did I know that?
He actually died or it was killed, or I'll put up my quotes, committed suicide 20 days before I was born. But yeah, so
It was because he knew you were being born, man.
yeah, or I could be the reincarnated Rudolf Hess. It could be.
Damn.
You never know, man.
That's kind of fucked up to say.
You don't think about it, but that's a possibility. We don't know.
Anything's a possibility.
Yeah, we really don't know. Everything's fucking possible. But yeah, any questions before we watch this one?
Do you feel like you have some Nazi tendencies?
No. He was a good guy. He was the good Nazi, man. Come on.
Just fuck you.
You'll see. He wanted peace for Germany. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
You'll find out in this video that he signed some of those orders to kill people. But yeah. So, different times, bro. It's different times.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Good.
7. A 93-year-old man with severe arthritis was found dead in Spandau prison.
According to a statement released by the Allies in West Berlin, Hess died while still inside the city's giant
I love how the video
Spandau
opened
prison,
already.
where he's been held for the past 40 years.
Authorities called it a self-inflicted death, but how could a frail man tie a noose strong enough to kill himself?
Yeah.
Within 48 hours, the scene of his death was demolished. Was this just routine or a cover-up? The man was Rudolf Hess, Hitler's former right-hand man, imprisoned for 46 years. His sudden death sparked decades of conspiracy theories. What really happened that day in Spandau?
Yeah.
For 21 years, Rudolf Hess was the only prisoner in Spandau, a massive prison in West Berlin run by 4 Allied powers.
Also
Keeping
weird.
one man there cost West Germany about $670,000 a year, over $2 million today. Rudolf Hess was born in Alexandria, Egypt, on April 26, 1894, into a wealthy German merchant family living under British colonial rule. Unlike many Nazi leaders, he grew up admiring British order and structure. His father, Johann Fritz Hess, ran the family import business Hess & Co. and pushed his mathematically gifted son toward a career in commerce. World War I changed Hess's life. He joined the 7th Bavarian Field Artillery Regiment, fought at Ypres and Verdun, and earned the Iron Cross after being wounded by shrapnel. He rose to the rank of Lieutenant de Reserve. The disillusionment of Germany's defeat became the catalyst for Hess's political radicalization. On July 1, 1920, he joined the fledgling Nazi Party as member number 16, quickly establishing himself as one of Hitler's most devoted followers. Their bond deepened during their time in prison at Landsberg following the failed beer hall putsch of 1923. While incarcerated, Hess served as Hitler's personal secretary, helping him transcribe and edit Mein Kampf, the ideological blueprint for Nazism. When Hitler came to power in 1933, Hess became deputy Führer and second in command after Hermann Göring. He signed key Nazi laws, including the Nuremberg laws that stripped Jews of their rights. Hess oversaw departments from foreign affairs to education, acting as Hitler's administrative right hand. Hess gave speeches at the Nuremberg rallies and helped stage large-scale Nazi propaganda events. Behind the scenes, he reviewed cases against political enemies and worked with industrialists to fund the regime. But Hess's odd behavior pushed him to the margins of Hitler's inner circle. Many saw him as eccentric, maybe even unstable. Though loyal to Hitler, he quietly questioned Germany's strategy of fighting both Britain and the Soviet Union at the same time. As the war went on, Martin Bormann slowly took over Hess's responsibilities. While others shaped wartime policy, Hess was reduced to a symbolic figure. Isolated and sidelined, he began plotting one of the war's most bizarre events, a personal peace mission to Britain without Hitler's knowledge. What happens when one man believes he alone can stop a world war? In May 1941, as Germany prepared to fight on 2 fronts, Hess came up with a plan so bold, historians still debate whether it was an act of loyalty or the ultimate betrayal. With Operation Barbarossa, Hitler's planned invasion of the Soviet Union looming on the horizon, Hess became convinced that Britain must be neutralized before Germany committed its forces eastward. On May 10, 1941, after several aborted attempts, Hess climbed into a specially modified Messerschmitt Bf-110 at the Augsburg-Hounstetten airfield, embarking on a perilous mission that would become one of the war's most bizarre episodes. Dressed in a leather flying suit with a captain's rank, he carried maps, money, and a curious collection of homeopathic remedies, small comforts for a man flying toward an uncertain fate. His flight path revealed careful planning. Navigating by landmarks towards the Frisian Islands, Hess made a tactical eastward diversion to evade British radar before setting course across the treacherous North Sea. But British radar still picked him up, designating it Raid 42. 3 Spitfires scrambled to intercept, but failed as Hess pressed on. As fuel dwindled, Hess searched the Scottish countryside for Dungavel House, residence of the Duke of Hamilton. This wasn't random. Hess specifically targeted Hamilton, believing the Duke could facilitate peace with influential British circles. Months earlier, he had attempted contact through a letter that British intelligence had intercepted. With his fuel gauge hovering near empty and pursued by RAF fighters, Hess parachuted from his aircraft. He landed in a Scottish field with an injured ankle, while his abandoned Messerschmitt crashed miles from his intended destination. When approached by a local farmer, Hess identified himself as Captain Alfred Horn, but would soon reveal his true identity. Back in Germany, Hess had left behind a letter for Hitler explaining everything. But when the letter reached him, Hitler was furious. Instead of seeing it as a bold peace mission, he feared how Germany's allies might react. He told the press to paint Hess as mentally unstable and privately gave an order. If Hess ever returned to Germany, he was to be shot on sight. The British, equally mystified by Hitler's deputy's sudden appearance, dismissed his peace proposals. Hess insisted his mission aimed to spare both countries further bloodshed, a tragic miscalculation of Churchill's resolve and Britain's determination to continue fighting. His risky flight ended in failure, a dramatic move that only led to political exile. British intelligence interrogated their surprising new prisoner, but they couldn't have known that decades later, people would question whether he was even the real Rudolf Hess. At Nuremberg, Hess displayed such erratic behavior that it sparked a theory that would persist for over 70 years. His claim of total amnesia confounded prosecutors and psychiatrists alike, creating a psychological puzzle that overshadowed much of the proceedings. Dr. Douglas Kelly, the chief psychiatrist at Nuremberg, described Hess's condition as a true psychoneurosis, primarily of the hysterical type, and grafted on a basic paranoid and schizoid personality, with amnesia, partly genuine and partly feigned. Hess seemed to mix real symptoms with deliberate acting, a tactic that kept people guessing.
Smart.
A psychological sleight of hand that would later fuel suspicions about his very identity. Hess eventually admitted to fabricating portions of his memory loss, casting further doubt on his true motivations. Despite his theatrical behavior, the tribunal found Hess guilty of crimes against peace and conspiracy, sentencing him to life imprisonment while many co-defendants faced execution. The Soviet tribunal member, Major General Yona Nikitchenko, forcefully argued that Hess deserved the death penalty alongside other Nazi leaders. This bizarre performance at Nuremberg laid the groundwork for the extraordinary theory that took root during his imprisonment at Spandau. The man behind bars might be a doppelganger protecting dangerous secrets. Dr. Hugh Thomas, one of the doctors who examined the prisoner, noticed something strange. There were no scars from an old bullet wound from World War I. The real Hess had been shot near his armpit, but the man in prison showed no such injury. Hess also showed strange health issues that deepened the mystery. He had sudden bouts of diarrhea during questioning, interpreted by some as a stress response from someone maintaining an elaborate deception.
Yeah.
His selective amnesia, digestive ailments, and persistent fears of poisoning painted the portrait of either a deeply disturbed man or someone living in constant fear of exposure. While in Spandau, the Soviets refused to release Hess, even as he aged into his 90s. The prison was built for hundreds, yet it held just one man. The Soviets' firm stance made some wonder, what were they afraid he might reveal? Hess reportedly attempted to take his own life twice before dying in Spandau. The doppelganger theory persisted until 2019, when researchers Sherman McCall and Jan Kemper-Kieslich conducted DNA analysis comparing Y chromosome markers from the prisoner's blood with those of a living Hess relative. Their conclusion was definitive, a 99.99% match, effectively ending decades of speculation that had captivated historians and conspiracy theorists alike. Science may have confirmed Hess's identity, but not the truth about his death. When the 93-year-old was found dead in Spandau's garden house in 1987, The official report said it was a death by hanging, but many believed something else happened. Authorities said Hess hanged himself with a cord from a reading lamp. He was declared dead at 4:10 p.m. at the British Military Hospital. But this simple story didn't hold up under closer inspection. Abdullah Malawi, who had served as Hess's medical attendant since 1982, encountered a scene of disturbing inconsistency upon entering the summer house. The room looked messy, like someone had rushed to move things around, yet remarkably, the cord was in its normal place and still plugged into the wall. This critical observation directly contradicted the hanging narrative. How could a cord be simultaneously fashioned into a noose while remaining connected to power?
Yeah.
Malawi also noted the presence of 2 uniformed Americans at the scene, raising immediate questions about unauthorized access to Hess. A second autopsy found Hess died from strangulation, not hanging. That directly contradicted the original report by the Four Powers pathologist. Was someone else involved? Most suspicious of all, the summer house was demolished within 48 hours. One journalist claimed it was even burned down. Whether intentional or not, the destruction erased the crime scene and any chance of further investigation.
Womp womp.
It seemed nearly impossible for a 93-year-old with bad arthritis to tie a noose strong enough to kill himself. The timing raised additional questions. Hess died just as Gorbachev's glasnost policies threatened to unlock Soviet archives, potentially revealing hidden aspects of World War II diplomacy. As the last surviving defendant from the major Nuremberg trials, Hess represented a living connection to Hitler's inner circle during crucial war periods. His death conveniently resolved the expensive and diplomatically complex Spandau prison arrangement, while sentencing a man who potentially held secrets that certain governments, particularly Britain, might have preferred remain buried with the war itself. Rudolf Hess's story isn't remembered for answers, but for all the questions it still raises. Despite DNA evidence confirming his identity, the circumstances surrounding his final moments remain shrouded in controversy. The hasty demolition of the summer house, conflicting autopsy reports, and the physical implausibility of a frail 93-year-old carrying out such an act alone continue to fuel speculation. Even today, more than 3 decades later, the historical puzzle remains unsolved. Various theories persist, from murder to cover-ups. And what still haunts us is what's hidden, locked in archives we may never see, truths that powerful nations deem too sensitive to reveal. Hess's death remains a locked file in history, its secrets sealed behind walls of silence and shadow. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching.
That's weird, right?
Well, yeah, everything with the whole, like, was it him? Is it not him?
Well, like, not even so much that, but they keep him in prison till he's 93, and then they kill him.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
But no, like,
Makes so much sense.
what's the purpose of also why can't he just go to the regular prison with other people?
They took him out of his misery. What do you mean it doesn't make sense?
Okay, you know what? I'll give you that one. They took him out of his misery, but like, wasn't he pretty close to it anyhow? He's already 93, been living in prison for 40 plus years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. The whole thing's fucking weird, man.
Yeah, I know.
And then you saw the mentioned a couple times about the DNA match, right? They did that in what, 2015?
Yeah. Of course, they need to make that very obvious. There was a match.
I get it. I did look up DNA profiling. So DNA profiling was first used for forensic purposes to match a suspect to a crime in 1986 in Britain. So why'd they wait until 2013?
Why wouldn't they?
Like, that's the other thing. Like, okay, whose bones do you get? And then are we just to believe it? We're just to believe it. We're just told, hey, guys, it's not a doppelganger. 2013, they had some scientists go in and figure it out. It's like, oh, but he died in 87.
Well, that's exactly what we have to believe.
That's it, man.
That's the only way.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm believing it, but you can believe it all you want, Mr. Eddie. This whole thing is fucking weird. The whole thing is weird. But yeah, any other things you got before we go into the next thing?
No.
No, right? Okay, yeah. It's very strange. Very strange. So, okay, sorry, excuse me. How did Rudolf Hess die? Rudolf Hess, Hitler's former deputy, died by suicide. These should be quotes. On August 17th, 1987, at age 93, in Spandau Prison, West Berlin, by hanging himself with an electrical cord in a summer house. While officially ruled a suicide, his family and lawyers long suspected murder, arguing he was too frail to hang himself, probably, sparking enduring conspiracies about his final moments. Key details of his death. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's very strange. Location: he was found in a small summer house in the exercise yard of Spandau Prison. Oh, so it wasn't even his normal room. Okay. Method: official reports state he used an electrical cord to hang himself. Okay. Which, as you saw in the video, was still plugged into the wall. Okay. Official ruling: the four power authorities, Britain, France, U.S., USSR, declared it a suicide after finding a suicide note written to his family. Okay. It's just, oh, I found this piece of paper. Yeah, he wrote it. Oh, okay. This is his handwriting? Yeah, just like, we'll find his DNA in 20 years. Don't worry. Controversies. His son and lawyer claim a second autopsy indicated murder by strangulation, suggesting he was killed to keep him from being released. Disputed frailty. At 93, Hess was extremely frail, with severe arthritis, leading many to doubt he could have physically hanged himself. It's true. Medical findings, while some reports suggested he was strangled, so it's even later, 2019 DNA study, so this just happened, confirmed
they revisited it.
Dude, I could have sworn he said 2013. Maybe he said 2019 in the video. But yeah, so a 2019 DNA study. So 7 years ago? Yeah, 7 years ago, they finally confirmed the guy that died in 1987. It confirmed the prisoner was indeed Rudolf Hess, dispelling the doppelganger theory. In your face, Eddie. It wasn't a doppelganger.
So, this is just my question to you.
Yeah.
How did they get his DNA in 2019?
Dude, you're telling me, man. Well, I mean,
it's a simple question. Simple question. How?
So, from my NCIS days, they could have dug up the corpse. They could have had someone keep a bone. They could have just kept his body. They could have thrown him on ice. I don't know how many other ways you want to preserve something. I mean, they could have salted him, right? Could have just loaded him up in salt.
Just pickled him.
They put him in a pickle jar. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's like an arm, like Rudolf Hess's arm or fingers in a pickle jar somewhere, and they're like, "Hey, we got a study coming up. Oh, you still got that finger? Good. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
I knew this was gonna be good one day.
That's it. I knew one day we'd be able to figure this out, even though this technology's from the 80s when he died. But we're gonna wait until 2019 to do the study.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, I mean, why not? The people will believe it. They have. Hess was the last remaining prisoner at Spandau after 1966, where he had been serving a life sentence for war crimes since 1947. So he got in there in 1947, and he was all by himself from 1966 to 1987.
It's just weird the things that it's like oddly specifies for no reason.
Well, the joke of the whole thing is like we're supposed to read this and think that this is rational. Like, no, why would this even make sense? Move him to another prison. What you're gonna charge you're gonna read coming up here soon how much it costs the taxpayer. But like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, is this just like a scam to just like steal money or something? Probably. But like, why keep him separated from everything? What did this man know? What could this man have known that you wouldn't have just killed him a long time ago too? Like that one Russian guy said at the at the Nuremberg trial is just kill him. Like, why would they go through all of this effort? What did he have on these people?
He was special.
Dude, like, I guess they didn't know. They didn't know until 2019 when they finally did the study and found out that he was not a doppelganger. That's why they kept him in prison forever, because they knew it was the real one.
He was the real deal.
It doesn't even, none of it makes fucking sense, man. It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. Yeah. Yeah, the long-standing conspiracy theory that Nazi leader Rudolf Hess was replaced by a look-alike doppelganger in Spandau prison has been debunked by 2019 DNA analysis. Forensic testing compared a blood sample from prisoner Spandau number 7 with a known relative of Hess, proving they were the same person. You know, it's funny, like, they don't even say what relative it was.
No.
But they've been telling us about his son forever. Wouldn't his son have said, hey, here's some blood, see if that's him? Or don't they do they do the mouth swab, right? That's where they do the DNA.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's so fucking weird. The whole thing's so fucking weird. Yeah, so key aspects of the conspiracy theory. The imposter theory. For decades, rumors persisted that the man imprisoned in 1941 was an imposter. A theory supported by some, including British doctor W. Hugh Thomas. I'd like to hear more from him. Suspicious factors. The prisoner refused to see family for 28 years, claimed intense amnesia, and reportedly lacked scars from World War II bullet wound that Hess was known to have. So if you're not willing to see your family, and you don't have the scars that you're supposed to have, I mean... that should do it for me, but whatever. Final proof. Scientists from the University of Salzburg, sure, found a 99.99% match between the 1982 blood sample and the Hess male line, confirming the prisoner was indeed Rudolf Hess, who died in 1987. I just love that. I just love that. 99.99% match. The DNA results published in Forensic Science International Genetics proved the doppelganger was a myth. In your face, Eddie. We put it in a magazine.
Yeah, no. It's just a myth. When was Hess to be released from prison? Rudolf Hess was never officially scheduled
Right.
for release
Yeah.
and was intended to serve a life sentence. Remaining
Well,
the
technically
sole
he did,
inmate-
didn't he?
Well,
Died in prison.
technically.
He served his life in prison. So, technically did Google AI. You gotta change that.
Intended to serve a life sentence, remaining the sole inmate at Spandau prison until he committed suicide on August 17, 1987, at the age of 93.
Yeah.
Despite repeated efforts by Western powers and his family for early release, the Soviet Union blocked his release throughout his imprisonment.
Weird.
Few facts regarding Hess' imprisonment. After flying to Scotland in 1941, he was held by the British and later sentenced to life at the 1946 Nuremberg trials. Failed releases. All through the UK considered supporting his release as early as 1956 and later pressed for it. Soviet opposition kept him confined. Final years. He became the sole prisoner in Spandau prison in 1966. Calls for his release on humanitarian grounds continued through the 1970s and 1980s. Death. He died by suicide.
He did, yeah.
On August 17, 1987, at the age of 93, after which the prison was demolished.
I love that.
They didn't want to leave no trace at all.
Just love that.
Just fucking demolish the building. That's it.
We're gonna keep him in here by himself for fucking 20 years at least. Yeah, at least 20 years by himself. And then after it's done, yeah, we don't need it anymore. We were just keeping this for you, bro. Like, what the fuck's going on?
All right, let's get to this. I want to read this.
You're gonna like
How
this.
much money was spent to house Rudolf Hess? The cost of housing Rudolf Hess varied depending on his location,
Uh-huh.
which the most significant long-term cost occurring during his imprisonment in Spandau Prison. Spandau Prison from 1947 to 1987. By 1974, it cost approximately 300,000 a year.
Hmm.
Is this dollars? Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a dollar symbol, so yeah.
The dollar sign. A year to run the 600 cell Spandau.
Does that sound
Oh
like
my
a
God.
fucking
Oh, that's
embezzlement
something
there? Like,
which was paid for the West German government. For many of his final years, Hess was the sole prisoner in this facility, which was guarded by a rotating detail of 45 soldiers from the four wartime Allied nations. Oh,
that seemed
this
like overkill
cheap
for this old man.
Cassidy. This fucking guy was old man John Wick or something.
Dude, for real. Unbelievable.
1941 to 1942.
It's so weird.
During his initial detention in Britain, Hess was held at the 12 bed
Yeah, that's what I mean.
12-bedroom Surrey mansion known as Smithshed Place or Camp C, which was later described as a 15-million-year-old mansion in
Uh-huh.
Sunnybrook.
Uh-huh.
Other locations after his flight to Scotland in 1940. I can't stop laughing. This is
It's
so amazing.
unbelievable. It's so fake.
He was also held briefly at the Tower of London for 40.
Ah.
Oh my God! It's like let's say if somebody wanted to take a vacation, hey, just put it on Hess account. Fuck it.
Yeah, right.
The
Yeah.
Western Allies, Britain, U.S., and France had at times proposed closing Spandau to reduce society and incarceration costs, but the Soviet Union frequently blocked such moves. According to
Yep.
reports in the 1970s and 19... Oh my God, this is so fucking hilarious.
It's
Hold on, I probably missed it. Like, was there actually a person in there? Like, did they let like his family come and visit him or no?
well,
Like,
what we saw on the other side, as far as what has to do with his doppelganger nonsense, right? He refused to
yeah.
see the family for 28 years.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is fucking stupid. Okay, all right.
The whole thing
Like,
is fake,
wow.
right? Like
Yeah, no,
this.
like yeah, okay. You just, it's just like pretty much believe me, we have a guy in there that's surrounded by fucking 45 soldiers at all time. Do
So
not worry,
here's
he
the
is
other
there.
thing, though. So do you think that they just unfortunately grabbed some other poor guy that was 93
Oh,
years old and
well,
murdered him and
hold
tossed
on.
him there?
If 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 they actually had somebody in there, which this just
I don't know.
points out to no, there was nobody there. But probably at that, like when they showed somebody or killed somebody or whatever, then yeah, they probably grabbed somebody old and they just yeah. But no, this is oh my God, it's
This whole story is fucked, right?
it's borderline just stupid, man.
This is what they want you to believe, Eddie. This
Oh
is
my
the
God.
story that they want you to
This is
believe.
like the real fucking Baba Yaga. Like
That's it. He is. Yeah, he is John Wick.
or imagine like let's just take a hypothetical that this guy legit was there. Like imagine like having that many fucking soldiers just like dude, if
We have
this
45
guy
soldiers all the time rotating every single
yeah, like
day.
if
Just
this guy lets loose, like he's fucking everybody. Even though he's 80, like let's say like not even
yeah,
90. Let's put,
yeah. Go
even
back
though
to
this
the
motherfucker's
70s.
80,
Yeah.
yeah. This guy can really fuck up everybody. Like so do do not let him. Is this like a real time fucking Hulk or something? Like,
Yeah, he's got to be.
I don't know.
There's
I just
something missing, right?
it's like me trying to find a logical explanation to this. It's like not gonna happen.
Good luck,
But
dude.
whatever.
Yeah, good luck. The most
And-
logical thing that you can kind of piece together from all of this so far is that they stole over $300,000 a year from the West German government. That's kind of
Yeah.
like what it
Yeah,
seems
that's pretty
like.
and I just love the whole thing. Like, fuck it, he's dead. Let's just fucking demolish the whole place. Like that doesn't trigger like that doesn't trigger
2 days
fucking,
later.
like a red flag. Like a red flag. Like, oh yeah, like this pretty much just getting rid of fucking evidence. That's the
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you got to get rid of the evidence.
How is it hard to pinpoint this? But whatever. Okay. It is what it is.
History's written by the winners, brother, and this is the history they want you to
they
believe.
won. They won a lot. I can tell you
A lot of cash, yeah. That doesn't even include how much they probably got from all the Nazi. You remember the Nazis were stealing all the gold and stealing all those artifacts and everything too. Artifacts, paintings, pictures, all that. Yeah. So.
And also, like, I know, like, when Hitler was alive, like, he was like big into like
occult
finding
shit.
like finding a bunch of like religious, like, valuable artifacts and stuff like that. Like,
well, you remember that from Indiana Jones.
No, I haven't actually watched Indiana Jones.
You haven't seen the Indiana Jones movies?
Mm-hmm.
1 through 3. That's all you got to watch. Just as an FYI. 1 through 3.
Like, I know about them. Don't get me wrong. Like, I do know, and I know like the basic of it. But it's like I haven't actually like sat down and watched a movie.
Do you like Harrison Ford?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay.
He's a good actor.
So those three movies. Oh, he absolutely. He should have retired when he was retired. I thought. I thought he was actually retired, and then it's like, oh, he's making an Indiana Jones movie. It's like, yeah. Oh, he is a great actor, but now, yes, and I feel the same way about all these old actors now. All these actors now, because none of the new people are any good. So they have all these old actors, 60, 70-year-old men who are doing action movies, and it's like, why? You can't find, like, some 20, 30-year-olds?
or like here, if they find somebody, they'll just squeeze the living life out of him. Like, I know, like, there's this guy that I actually like a lot. Like, he's a newer actor.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Pedro Pascal. And
I know you like Pedro. Yeah.
He's like everywhere. Like he
I know.
The guy.
He needs to stop being in everything.
Movie, like every
movie,
every
TV
movie,
show.
Superhero. He's Boba Fett. He's
no, he's not Boba Fett. He's
Fantastic.
The Mandalorian.
Well, yeah, the Mandalorian. Sorry.
Yeah.
At least I didn't say a Star Trek reference when it was a Star Wars.
True.
Okay?
True. I'll give you a little bit of credit. Don't worry, we'll put you in Spandau for 60 years.
Like he's Mr. Fantastic. He is Joe from The Last of Us. He's like guys like there's got to be somewhere else, like somebody else that could act like I'm not.
There has
to be. Great actor still, but come on, like,
it's because he was flavor of the month. It's because like everybody got hot and bothered over him for like a short period of time, so they just threw him in everything. Yeah, same thing with The Rock. The Rock was in like everything back to back.
Don't get me wrong, he did a great improvement from the WWE to acting, but. There's got to be other actors out there. Like, there's got to be people with talent too out there.
One would assume. You could find one person.
Yeah.
But no, you can't. It's going to be Brad Pitt till he's 80, and it's going to be Pedro Pascal till he's 80, and fucking who's Wolverine? Hugh Jackman, he's going to be 85 still doing fucking Wolverine. He'll probably still be jacked too, but regardless, you know what though, what's weird is you think about it when you see all these movies come out with the same actor and it's like, how do they have all the time to do all this? Are they just like, because I know they're making movies all the time, they don't release them for a while a lot of times, but like almost, leads me to believe there's more AI going on with making movies.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes, too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Before we know it, everything's gonna be AI. It won't just be our
Mhm.
pictures. It'll be us talking too. Yeah. Yeah, there'll have to be an like inebriate button so that you can make the AI have hiccups. You're gonna have to add that in. Good luck, AI, mimicking me. But yeah, this whole thing's fucked, right?
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure that I'm not crazy on this, because when I was actually looking through, picking these and cutting them up and putting them on this, I'm like, this is a ridiculous story. This is like just totally ridiculous story. Ugh. Absolutely. But any questions you got before the next thing?
No.
Okay. So our next thing. Oh, cool. So this here is the theory video I was mentioning, which will bring us to like changing of guards and changing powers and that kind of shit. So, and this guy, again, all videos will be linked in the description. But any questions you got before we start it?
No, let's go. Let's
Okay.
get right into it.
You'll like this guy. Yeah.
In the internal pharaonic wars of their nobility, there are not just the two obvious parties of royalists and republicans,
He gets to Hess towards
or
the end, just
old
as an
world
FYI.
order vertical rule versus new world order horizontal rule. But there is also a third power who won it all. The third aristocratic power is the union of both republicans and royalists into the constitutional monarchies. And as neither the Old World Order royalists nor the New World Order republicans wanted this union, they decided to make an Old World Order, New World Order alliance between the Old World Order royalists in Germany and the New World Order Swiss Templar republicans, in order to avoid this union of the United Kingdoms. The Old World Order royals in Germany wanted their monarchy and no union. And the Swiss New World Order Republican Templars wanted to keep their system and no union either. So basically, the enemies became forced to be friends in order to keep each one their own system in place and avoiding the UK union of both. And in this terrible internal war of our masters, there was lots of betrayal and flipping sides, like Prince Bernhard, one day being in the SS, chatting with Hitler and killing nationalist Germans, and the next day he was flying a Spitfire in the RAF 322 Skull and Bones Squadron. Or like Hitler himself, one day pretending to be for the German people and their original German nationalist workers, and the next day he was for the monarchy, killing all the real German nationalists. And in the end, every military decision Hitler took was in favor of the Allies.
Yeah, they said he
as
sabotaged
his
them.
Dunkirk decision, or at Stalingrad. So, who was he really, this Hitler? Was he a spy for the Order of the Garter Union, and therefore making Germany lose the war with his incredible, unlogical, strategical decisions? Well, Hitler definitely was against the German people, with 1 million non-Jaywalker Germans murdered in the concentration camps and deliberately bringing total havoc over Germany. In fact, Hitler and his Nazis were all Freemasons, giving Freemason hand signs all over, with their square and compass swastika,
Yeah.
the SS for the goddess Isis, and Skull and Bones Totenkopfverbände, And when I found this in a video, Hitler doing the same as all the Freemason hand sign as
We've
all
seen that
the
hand
other
sign.
politicians, I made a video about it about 10 years ago. And I had many more other Nazis like Goering doing the hidden hand. But FuckTube took it off because, well, apparently Google are friends with the Nazis.
Yeah, they are.
They also deleted my film. They censored my videos like Auschwitz made in Switzerland and Switzerland financed the Shoah. So Google are definitely friends with the Nazis, eh? And in the end, Hitler betrayed the German monarchists after they had helped him into power. I mean, look at what happened. After 2 world wars, there were no more real monarchies.
This is what kind of got me.
World War I ended the German monarchy in 1918, the Turkish monarchy of the Caliphate in 1923, and the rest of the monarchies. And after World War II, it was the end of the Japanese monarchy, forced to become a member of the Order of the Garter and accept its union. And many more monarchies disappeared after World War II. Then, after the war, the Order of the Garter just created a whole bunch of constitutional union kings out of nowhere. As in Spain in 1978, after half a century without any Spanish king at all, or in Iran in 1941, as can be seen here, even before the end of World War II, creating the Shah, Mohammad Reza, with an octagon star of the Order of the Garter, probably, or like in Saudi Arabia, creating the king in 1932, all puppets of the British royals, as Gaddafi had put it. Of course, in reality, all these created union kings are all puppets of the Order of the Garter, a worldwide phenomenon. This is why, in the United Kingdoms, you have the House of Lords, which is a royal house of descendants of the old world order, vertical rule, and the House of Commons by the horizontal rule, Republican Templars, who are also aristocrats. But as they don't belong to the primogeniture, well, the last ones, of course, they are almost considered commoners by the lords. But as they're not entirely commoners, they are called commons. So the masters have 3 options: New World Order, Old World Order, and the union of both, which therefore also is the concept of 3, which is them. And if you add the slaves and 4th force to that, you get the concept of 4, meaning us. So this here, in fact, is the principle of the Order of the Garter in practice. So here you see the lion with the crown on its head, and where it says Dieu, God, because it's the divine right of the nobility, of the kings. And on this side is the unicorn, the Templar's horse, the new Templar's horse, with the phallic symbol on its head, and where it says Mon droit. And look, they both have the same crest. In red, of course, for the House of Lords. As I told you, that red is them, our masters of the red house, per tasser, of Pharaoh. And still white in it, being the gate, behind which the monarchists are trapped by the Knights Templars in white. When they show it the other way around, with a red Old World Order gate holding the white Templars in, that has to do with their internal war, which you can see here. You see, here's the other way around. Here it has a red gate and a white underground. And the crest has loads of squares and circles for square and compass. You see, there are a lot of squares in it here. And here's also here, and here's the circle, and here also a lot of circles. So it definitely says square and compass. The New World Order Templars murdered the Old World Order monarchists in their internal war. And consequently, millions of Europeans pushed by the nobility into these terrible wars, in which the people got annihilated, believing all these pharaonic lies and arguments for global war, just as today's sort of global war and the lies, you know, to push us into that.
Yeah, buddy.
The internal nobility war was also the reason for the Nazi deputy Führer,
That's our guy.
Rudolf Hess, to fly to Scotland in 1941 to see the Duke of Hamilton in order to warn the British nobility against Hitler's coming betrayal against the monarchists. As Hitler was a New World Order Freemason and Swiss Nazi Templar agent, lying to everyone, deliberately betraying the German people and the German monarchists. Hess was born in Egypt, land of Pharaoh, and he had hoped to find real monarchic aristocracy in England in his mission for the German monarchy, in order to unite English and German monarchists. Only problem, in the United Kingdoms, there are no more real monarchists, as they all belong to the Unionists of the Order of the Garter. The Union of the New World Order horizontally and the Old World Order vertically. And all of this is part of Pharaoh's internal war, with Pharaoh's nobility leading us all to the slaughterhouse in 2 world wars, with their dumb slaves, the sheeple, believing every lie the masters chew out for them through the king's media liars. This is Wikipedia about Rudolf Hess. Well, he doesn't look very German.
No.
He looks very Turkish.
He does.
Well, that was born. That was because he was born in the Ottoman Caliphate.
Yeah, Ottoman Empire.
The Ottoman Empire. Here, look. Hess was born in Alexandria in Egypt. Yeah, in Egypt. Part of the Ottoman Empire, but under a British occupation. And it goes on here. The Protectorate of Sir Evelyn Baring. Oh, look. He's almost slipping his hand inside.
They're all
And
Freemasons,
he went
bro.
and
It's all
studied
connected.
in Neuchâtel in Switzerland. There. Next to where Ian Fleming was in Lausanne. They all knew each other, people. And so Hess youth in Egypt, you know, he had a lifelong contempt for non-white peoples, together with a strong admiration for the British Empire. You know, that's why he did the flight, and hoping to find some British monarchists. So Rudolf Hess thought he had to do with the British monarchists when he flew to Scotland, through contacting the Duke of Hamilton, not knowing that there are no more real monarchists in England, who therefore all belong to the Order of the Garter, the union of monarchists and Templars of the United World Order. The whole thing is interesting to read. It's also about his flight. Well, you can look at it yourself. And that was Hess's fatal mistake. Hitler, of course, was fully aware of the United World Order and the union of New World Order Templar Republicans and Old World Order monarchists, as he got fully initiated in Swaziland in 1923 at the Freemason Lodge of Zurich during his visit to Swaziland. So here you see the Duke of Hamilton, and you can read the well, I mean, they all knew about why Hess actually, why he flew to Scotland and to see Hamilton. They all knew it, but of course they're not going to tell their slaves. Yeah, Second World War, the Hess affair, very interesting, but well, they're not going to tell you.
No, they ain't gonna tell us shit.
Why would they?
Well, right. I mean, yeah. Why would they tell their slaves? They don't tell us shit. But that throws an interesting question on there, doesn't it?
Which is?
The monarchist thing. So let's go right into that, because you don't have any questions at the moment. I feel like you're confused. You have to watch that guy like 3 times. You have to watch that video. I've watched that video like 5 times now. So.
I believe you.
Yeah, I figured you weren't going to say anything. So what was the outcome? What was the outcome for monarchies after World War I? All right, so this is starting from the first one. World War I resulted in the collapse of 4 major European empires: German, Austro-Hungarian, Russian, and Ottoman, ending centuries of rule by the Hohenzollerns, all right, Habsburgs. No, you're lucky, buddy. Romanovs. The Romanovs are Russian, and Osmanlis. Sure. Monarchs were blamed for the war's devastation. Yeah, I know it's hip hop. Resulting in widespread abdications, revolutions, and the rise of republicanism and communism. Key outcomes for European monarchies included collapse of major dynasties. The German Empire saw Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicate and flee. The Austro-Hungarian Empire dissolved entirely. Russia's Romanov dynasty was overthrown during the 1917 revolution, and the Ottoman Empire fell. Abolition and exile. Many smaller German kingdoms and duchies, that's D-O-U, duchies, lost their thrones, with rulers like Ludwig III of Bavaria forced to abdicate. Survivorship to constitutionalism. Surviving monarchies, such as in Great Britain, were largely forced to adopt stricter constitutional roles with reduced political influence. Social changes. Many former ruling families lost their properties, and in some areas like Germany, noble titles were restricted, with privileges abolished in 1919. Overall, the war replaced powerful autocratic monarchies with new, often unstable democratic republics in Central and Eastern Europe, or with communist regimes, as was the case in Russia. So it totally changed shit. It got rid of a lot of the that's something I didn't even think about, really. Like, you don't put that together in history class. What is that? I think in like 6th or 8th grade they teach you about this. But yeah, like I didn't know about that, really. Yeah, what was the outcome for 2?
So
Eddie?
what was the outcome from monarchies after World War II? After the World War II, many European monarchies faced abolition, particularly in Eastern Europe, where Soviet influence established communist republics. While some Western European monarchs returned from exile, others in Italy, Greece, and Romania were deposed via
Referendums. Yeah, referendums.
or forced abdication
Yeah, abdication.
due to communist shifts or collaboration accusations. Key outcomes of monarchies post World War II: abolition in Eastern Europe,
Abolition.
Romania, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, and Albania saw their monarchies abolished. Abolished. King Michael I of Romania was forced to abdicate in 1947.
Abolition.
Abolition in Italy. Following civil discontent and the end of the Axis alliance, Italy held a referendum in 1946 that abolished the monarchy and established a republic. End of Japanese Empire as absolute. While the emperor remained, Japan's absolute monarchy was replaced by a constitutional monarchy following the Allied occupation. Survivor stability. Several northwestern European monarchies, such as Norway, Denmark, and the Netherlands, survived, with their monarchs often having served as national symbols of resistance. Transitions to constitutionalism.
There you go.
The trend continued towards constitutional monarchies, where rulers had less say in political decisions compared to the pre-war era. Overall, the war continued a trend of declining royal power, transforming the institution from a dominant governance form to the one largely restricted to constitutional roles, with republics replacing several crowns.
So that's just like here in America. I know that they keep doing this like no kings thing, right? But technically, we don't have a king. We don't, unless you want to look at. I mean, I'm not gonna say it because it'll probably get striked on fucking YouTube. But like the who pays for our king in quotes. But no, like everything got switched over to being like the bullshit that we deal with here, where it's like we have all these politicians that just claim to be for us, but they have nothing to do with us. They don't help us. You know what I mean? Whereas maybe if we were under a monarchy, maybe the king would actually care about his subjects. Because these politicians could give a shit. They really
Well, what do you mean?
Well, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what?
That's not the case.
No.
Why are you saying that?
Right?
That's totally not the fact.
No, not one bit. We're not ruled by Freemasons, but whatever.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Oh boy, like that whole thing. The whole like these outcomes. These are weird. Like you didn't think about this looking at it from this angle. What happened after these big world wars? It did complete change of government in all these countries, all around the world. Everything got changed, or at least somewhat. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing's weird. Whole thing's weird. Any questions for the next thing?
No.
Okay. So, I want to say, yeah, no, that's all right. That's okay. I want to say this is our last thing to read anyway. So, World War II, 1939 to 1945, resulted in the total defeat. This was like, what was the outcome? Yeah, what was the outcome? So, resulted in the total defeat of the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, Japan, by the Allies, causing an estimated 60 to 80 million deaths. Man, that fits with the Club of Rome. They want more, though. The Holocaust and unprecedented global infrastructure destruction. That's another thing that people don't think about, too, is they destroyed all this infrastructure. So guess what? big contracts to get everything rebuilt. It established
But of course,
Isn't it
that's the
crazy?
only
Like,
way.
you don't think
That's the
about that
only way.
shit, but that's totally what happened. It established the U.S. and USSR as rival superpowers, initiating the Cold War, more money to spend on military, and saw the creation of the United Nations. Another terrible thing. That's a one-world government right there. That's the United Nations. Major political and structural outcomes. Unconditional surrender. Germany surrendered on May 8th, 1945, and Japan on September 2nd, 1945, ending hostilities. Division of Germany/Japan. Germany was occupied and divided into 4 zones. Japan was occupied by Allied forces, primarily the U.S. In your face. Rise of superpowers. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the dominant global military and economic powers. Of course. Of course. They wanted to set up the new story for the coming generations. Cold War. The wartime alliance between the U.S. and the USSR dissolved into a Cold War standoff, dividing Europe into democratic West and communist East. United Nations. The UN was created in 1945 to foster international cooperation and prevent future conflicts. And then decolonization. So decolonization weakened European powers. UK, France, Netherlands lost their colonial empires, leading to independence movements across Africa and Asia. Okay. Human and economic impact. Massive casualties, estimating 60 million deaths, including roughly 6 million Jews in the Holocaust, and massive civilian displacement. Devastation. Extensive damage to infrastructure, cities, and agriculture across Europe and Asia. Nuclear age. The U.S. atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki initiated the nuclear age, which seems like hasn't really helped us too much, right? Like, we were supposed to all have like a nuclear reactor at our houses that we could run everything for like dirt cheap or free or relatively free, you know what I mean? Like cars that don't need to pump gas, but no, they haven't helped us out there yet. Economic shift. The U.S. emerged as a dominant economic force, while much of Europe and Asia faced long-term reconstruction. Crazy.
How did the power dynamic shift after World War II? After World War II, the global power structure shifted dramatically from a multipolar European center system to a bipolar world dominated by 2 superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. The war decimated European powers and left the U.S. as the dominant economic and military leader, while the USSR gained immense influence, leading to the Cold War. Key aspects of the post World War II power shift. Rise of the superpowers. The US and Soviet Union emerged as 2 dominant global powers, replacing the old European power structure. Decline of Europe. European colonial powers, Britain, France, and Germany, were significantly weakened, devastated by war, and lost their dominant international status. The bipolar world and Cold War was the world divided into 2 main blocks, um, uh, characterized
Characterized.
by by a military and ideological standoff between the US-led West and the Soviet Union, leading to the creation of opposing alliances like NATO and the Warsaw Pact. U.S. economic hegemony.
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 The the U.S. became the world leading economic force, with its GDP surging to represent over half of the world's production in the immediate aftermath, allowing it to drive post war, recovering through initiatives like the Marshall Plan, decolonization. Weakened European powers struggled to maintain their colonies, leading it to surge in newly independent nations across Africa and Asia. the atomic age, and global institutions. The U.S. became the atomic age, and the
We
creation
went
of
nowhere with it.
international organizations like the United Nations aim to establish a new, albeit fragile,
Albeit.
global order.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, the one thing that gets me on the whole thing is, yeah, it really kind of fucked Europe, and it gave somewhat, down to Africa and Asia, and it said, hey, we're going to release you guys from Europe's hold so you guys can run yourselves. Kind of fits in with the whole thing that he was talking about with having it be just like kind of like how we have it now today with the government. Like, it's your people. Don't worry, it's your people that are taking care of you guys when they're really being controlled by some outside source. I don't trust it. I don't trust it, bro. I don't trust it. The whole thing's weird. Whole thing's weird. But yeah, like the big issue with the Hess story is that we're never going to hear it because they killed him in '93. Still, I do not get it. I do not get why you would keep that man in prison all the way till '93 and then kill him.
Well, they had to have him in prison.
I
It was the Baba Yaga. Like,
mean, it's very possible that he was some crazy, wicked assassin.
he was that guy
with
like,
bulletproof suits and shit and all that, and headshots,
Yeah.
nonstop headshots all day. But no, it's
infinite ammo.
Infinite ammo, correct? Yeah, he's definitely got infinite ammo. Oh my god.
Oh man.
And just clips for days. Like he's got a clip, he's got another clip, and he's got another clip. It's like, man, how many pockets are in that nice suit?
Heard that story? You ever heard that story? How he killed 3 men with the pencil.
Oh, I mean, I actually, if you want to watch a really good movie, go watch The Equalizer, especially the first one. That was a great
I love
movie
The
with
Equalizer.
Denzel. I love Denzel.
I love Denzel.
That is the
He's
best.
a great actor.
He really is.
He is a great actor.
He is. I don't know why he did. He must have been forced into doing The Gladiator too. Like that's like the only movie that I can't really see. I won't see that movie. That's your Pedro Pascal friend too.
Yep.
It's your best friend there.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Whoa. I don't even know the guy.
On first name basis, Pedro.
The guy Pedro.
That's it.
You go way back.
Now this whole thing is weird. I don't think that we were told the truth.
Definitely it is. Yeah.
I don't think we were told the truth about even World War II, like the actual factual truths about that. And I know we're gonna have to.
You're onto something.
There's something up with it, man. We do have Holocaust denial coming up here in another. It's not gonna be our next one, but it'll be the one right after that. So our next episode will have Jimmy Hoffa and Hollow Earth, which is going to be interesting, and then we have Holocaust denial and Illuminati. So those will be 2 interesting ones coming up soon. But no, there's definitely something going on with this. It's very strange. Very strange. It doesn't seem to fit. His whole story of going there is goofy. His whole story of being a Nazi is goofy. Like, I don't trust any of it. I don't trust it, brother.
I know you don't do it.
I don't trust none of it. Maybe it was a doppelganger. But yeah, any questions before we go to the next thing?
No.
Okay. So, moving on. That's it.
This is good.
Chapter 32. Eddie feels better now because he has some type of information background of, well, not background, but like he has some knowledge of HIV/AIDS, correct?
Somewhat, yes.
So,
I wouldn't call myself an expert, but
I wouldn't either because we're not wearing our doctor suits. So
I wouldn't put it that I wouldn't go that far, but like I said, it's been a topic that's been around for a while. So,
and what you know of it is pretty much depicted in this picture, right? Except for not like us with a vial, but like the image in the background. The little monkey, the little chimpanzee. Poor guy.
That's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. See, I gave you got a better color on your
and then
sombrero.
the thing is that AI, this was easy for AI, like
It was. It already knew the story.
it didn't take that many tries, I would say. So
It didn't. This is literally the second one. This was the second. It was funny.
That is hysterical.
What was comical was the first one I put in came out great, but the only issue is like the chimpanzee was looking a different way, and it was a different color vial, and I think I didn't like the way I looked, so I asked it one more time, and it spat out another great image. I was like, okay, this is the one then. So, but yeah, so if you see in this picture here, it looks like Eddie and I have created something, and we got a chimpanzee in the background that we're going to blame it all on. Because that's like we mentioned in the beginning, that's what you remember, right? That it came from
that's
banging monkeys.
That's what that's the narrative that they were pushing back in the day.
Oh yeah. Well, you're going to see in a minute they're still pushing that. So, any questions or anything you want to add before we go into the next thing then?
I'm just seeing that it's actually a quite detailed image. Like AI is getting smarter. Look at that. 5 fingers.
I know we got all the right fingers.
Beard
we got eyeballs.
Pretty, like on point. Like all like hair. You can even the skin. It's kind of creepy. That's what's creeping me out right now.
It's kind of funny actually too. Minus some of the bone structure on that guy's face, he actually kind of matches me pretty well. Like I have a beard. I have a beard just like that. My fucking eyes are hazel too. Haircut's dead on. Yeah, dude. That's me right there. He might be a little thinner and more athletic, but
like even how sometimes like your beard, like how it grows underneath your
the neck beard.
In the part of your neck, that's fucking spooky.
Yeah, he looks like I'm like 3 days no shave. Yeah. That's it. Because we've been working on this project.
We've been working on this. Of course.
That's it. We couldn't shave every day. Crazy. It is nuts. But yeah, so nothing else before we go into first thing, which is origins.
No.
Okay. So, see, look at that in your face. Actually, it's like the same size. It's just.
Can I just read the whole thing? I want to keep on reading.
You can read the whole thing, yeah.
You just read a big paragraph. Well,
it was like one paragraph less than you, brother. I mean, whatever you want to do, fucking read. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. All right. It's like, be my guest.
Yeah, go ahead.
When did they start seeing AIDS in the U.S.? The first official reports of AIDS in the U.S. were published by the CDC on June 5th, 1981, describing rare pneumonia cases in 5 gay men in Los Angeles. However, researchers believe HIV entered the U.S. and began spreading in major cities like New York as early as the early 1970s. Like every Hollywood movie, everything happens in the major cities, like nowhere else. Like it's either Illinois or Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles.
Let me ask you this real quick: if you're going to actually invent a disease and spread it, wouldn't you do the cities?
Well, yeah, but come on. Let's think outside of the box.
I am.
Key early milestones. 1980 to 1981. Doctors began seeing a spike in Kaposi's sarcoma and unusual infections, which were later recognized as AIDS. Late 1981. Cases were reported among heterosexual injection drug users, highlighting transmission beyond the initial group. That's another thing. Yes, I also like back they used to say about
heroin.
The needles and the whole heroin. Yeah. September 1982, the CDC officially used the term AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, for the first time. The disease was initially referred to as GRID, gay-related immune Wow, they
Mm-hmm.
went the extra mile. Holy
America.
shit! I did not know that. That I did
Yep.
not know. Before its transmission routes were fully understood. That's so
Isn't
fucking.
that nuts that they would actually
Well,
call it
that's
gay-related
that
immune
that's a
deficiency?
wild. That's a wild
Unbelievable.
name, dude. That is insane. Like
Well,
that's crazy.
you're gonna see something kind of interesting as we go to the correlation thing. But keep going. Sorry.
You want me to read like that little
Yeah,
news
just the
thing?
article there.
Okay.
Yeah.
America's HIV outbreak started in the city 10 years before anyone noticed. Damn, that's
Yep.
crazy.
So that
Um,
right there goes into the belief that, hey, like, even this shit on the left is lying to you. Where they mention, they say that it may have began spreading in the 70s. So, well, who knows? Well, the doctors know, but yeah.
starting in Africa. Of course, it all goes back to Africa too. I remember
Well,
that too.
that's huge.
It's like, uh, nah, I'll say it. Well, we're done. Well,
Okay.
HIV/AIDS likely existed in Africa from the early 20th century. It was first formally recognized through reported cases in Central Africa, Zaire, DRC, and Rwanda around 1977. However, what?
Oh, I was going to say, remember 1977. I will try to remind you,
Okay.
but go ahead.
However, widespread recognition in Africa was slow due to limited infrastructure, with the severity only fully acknowledged in the early 1980s. Early evidence. The earliest identified HIV-1 sample comes from 1959. Wow.
Mm.
From a man in Kishaga, Congo. Early cases. Probably cases were documented in Central Africa, Zaire, and Rwanda in 1977. Initial recognition. The disease was, at first, rarely identified or reported until after the 1981 AIDS cases in the U.S. South Africa. The first reported cases of HIV-1 infection in South Africa occurred in 1982. Epidemic growth. While silent infections grew from the 1950s onward, the epidemic became officially recognized through the high morbidity and mortality reports in the 1980s. Oh, I was gonna say I say a lot of like movies and video game reference, but it all like is the same thing. Like whenever there's a virus, it starts in Africa and then they spread it in the main city.
Well, except for in 2020, it started in China, but yeah.
I mean, like before that, like before that pandemic, like it was just like
Well,
always like.
do you want to know the funny thing about that whole thing? Is that it literally mimics fucking Contagion, the movie
Yeah,
that came
oh
out
yeah,
in
100%.
2010,
That
I
was
think.
so. I remember like while we're in it, and then it was like what the fuck, like,
This is
like,
Contagion, guys.
like,
Like, did you guys
yeah.
just get your story from the movie and write it to us? Like, is that what happened? Like, you couldn't come up
It's
with
like
something
word
else?
for word the same
It
thing. You know what I
is,
mean?
yeah.
Like, but yeah. All right,
Unbelievable.
if
It's
you want to
weird,
go to
right?
the next one, and
Yeah.
you told me to remember 1977.
Yeah, remember 1977 for Africa and then 1981 for, I guess, Los Angeles. But like 70s and 80s, early 80s for New York. Okay. So, I mean, I'll make you read the right one anyway. Where do they say the AIDS virus originates from? The AIDS virus, HIV, originates from non-human primates in West Central Africa and crossed into humans in the early 20th century, roughly 1910-1930. Okay, question mark. It is believed that simian immunodeficiency virus, SIV, mutated into HIV when humans came into contact with infected blood while hunting or butchering chimpanzees, HIV-1, or sooty mangabeys, HIV-2,
So what
for
does that
bushmeat.
mean? Like they were eating them or just
Yeah,
getting
it's
in
supposedly
contact with
eating
blood?
them. Yeah.
That's fucking wow.
I mean,
Okay. Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, yeah,
possible, but
but
I don't trust their story.
it's just how do you pinpoint that? You know, like how do you just I don't know.
There's a big science behind trying to find the origin of something, and I can understand it to a point, but at some things like, yeah, but we'll see. The video you'll see in here is going to kind of give a little better explanation. That's for sure. Key details on absolutely. Key details on HIV origin, geographical source: the pandemic strain HIV-1 Group M originated in southeastern Cameroon, West Central Africa. Source species: chimpanzees. Troglodytes, twice. Troglodytes, okay. In Central Africa, our source of HIV-1. A different strain, HIV-2, came from sooty Mangabe monkeys. The hunter theory: scientists largely agree on the cut hunter hypothesis, where a hunter was exposed to an infected ape blood through cuts while hunting or butchering in the forest. Transmission timing. So he wasn't banging them. The transmission timing. The virus likely moved from apes to humans around 1910 to 1930, or even earlier, and for decades. It spread slowly in West Central Africa before becoming a global pandemic. It seems like a big gap, right? We're talking about the 30s, 1930s, but yet there wasn't like cases until the 70s, or the one guy in 59. Okay. Spread. Right?
It's just too much of a gap. Like
That seems like too much time.
Kind of like this is something, and then it's like, oh no, but okay.
Right? Like, it doesn't seem to correlate. It doesn't seem to, like, match up, but okay. Spread. The virus likely entered the human population in the Democratic Republic of Congo / Cameroon region and spread along trade routes. See, I don't trust that either. How many people? I mean, I guess they probably eat a lot of monkey meat, but regardless. The most widespread strain, HIV-1 Group M, is responsible for the global pandemic, while HIV-2 is less pathogenic and mainly restricted to West Africa. It's weird.
Did the AIDS virus came from the monkeys? Yes. HIV, which causes AIDS, originated from primates in Central and West Africa. The virus likely crossed over the humans in the early 20th century due to contact with infected blood while hunting and butchering chimpanzees from HIV-1, or sooty Mangabe monkeys from HIV-2. For me, key findings on HIV origins. HIV-1, main pandemic strain, stemmed from a simian immunodeficiency virus, SIVCPC, found in chimpanzees. HIV-2, rarer strain, stemmed from a different virus, SIV, SMM, found in sooty Mangabe monkeys. Transmission method. The prevailing cut hunter theory suggests hunters became exposed to infected ape monkey blood, likely around the 1920s in West Central Africa.
See, they don't really say, though. All they say is cut hunter. Does that mean that he was, like, he cut himself and the blood went into his blood? And
yeah, that's like, what it seems like. But
that, you know, like, that's the only thing that you can kind of piece together out of that. But, like, I asked it twice, and it still doesn't really give you
before that it was like sex through monkeys.
Yeah,
but here, like, okay, it's not so.
And they called it a
like,
gay disease too.
Yeah, no, that's fucking wild. Like, this makes sense. Okay, like if they were eating and like they were hunting, yeah, that could be a thing. Like, especially like I would assume they use like this fucking super sharp like knives and stuff to do that and butcher them. So it kind of makes sense.
But butchers do a good job of making sure that they don't slice themselves.
Well, I know, but I mean also too, like a butcher has like a little shop, a wood thing. A butcher doesn't actually hunt like the animal and so forth. So, you know, it like who knows how hard it is to hunt these animals and so forth. So we'll just leave it like I guess, up in the air.
Okay.
Evolution. The virus adapted to humans and began spreading rapidly through the urban areas, with Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of the Congo identified as epicenter to the early outbreak. For more detailed information, you can explore the origins of HIV and AIDS pandemics on PMC.
I wouldn't go there. You're just going to waste your fucking time.
I know.
You're not going to get any more than like this right here. But like, so this says it's coming from fucking monkeys, right?
Yeah.
Says it twice. No, in your face. You asked me twice, but I'm going to reiterate it and make it known that no, it came from fucking monkeys. And I put our little guy up there so you can see. We're talking about you, Mr. Chimpanzee. You're the one that gave everyone AIDS.
It's funny how my face is like looking surprised.
I know, that's why I've made that too. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now for a quick video from a little clip from the doctor. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. So this here is the I'll let him explain it, but this is just a quick like 2 or 3 minute video. So okay, ready?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
What about the so-called, what I call myths of AIDS? The virus coming out of a monkey is impractical or impossible for the following reasons. If you look at Africa, if the virus came from monkeys, you would expect the virus to have spread from the jungles to the cities. Of course, that isn't what's happening or what's happened. It's spreading from the cities into the jungles.
It's kind of even what Google
If you look
said.
at Africa, those most closely associated with the African green monkeys, the reputed animal of origin, pygmies, should have been infected with the AIDS virus, and up until the last 6 months or a year or so, pygmies were virtually 100% free of AIDS virus infection, and they only got infected after intercourse or contamination from prostitutes of the cities or by drug contamination from intravenous drug abuse from the cities. Stronger evidence against the virus actually coming from monkeys is the codon choices of the AIDS virus. And that means that the genetic information of the AIDS virus, known as codon choices, are not found in monkeys. They're not in monkeys. They're not in man. They actually exist in Visna virus and a few other viruses of the laboratory. Mm-hmm. That's where the genetic structure, the genetic material, the so-called information of the genes of the AIDS virus look like Visna, as we already know, and bovine leukemia virus. So all of these mitigate against the virus coming from monkeys and spreading in Africa. There's another way to get at this problem. If you say, for instance, that there are between 40 and 75 million Africans infected, and we know that 2 to the x is equal to 40 million, then we had to have approximately 2 to the 20th or 20-year doubling time for the virus to have spread in Africa. It's now 1988. That would have meant that the virus had to originate in Africa in 1968, and of course by the mid-1970s or early 1970s, there would have been people dying of AIDS in Africa. Of course, that's not the case. The retrospective analysis of blood shows that AIDS didn't exist in Africa until the mid-70s or later. If you look at the United States, where the AIDS virus appeared was in New York in 1978, San Francisco and Los Angeles in 80. It appeared in young white male homosexuals who were between the ages of 20 and 40, who were promiscuous. It did not appear in black, heterosexual, French-speaking immigrants from Africa or Haiti. Now, simultaneous with its appearance was conduction of the hepatitis B vaccine study in New York in 1978 and in San Francisco and Los Angeles in 1980 among young white male homosexuals who were between the ages of 20 and 40. Later published in the 80s in Morbidity Mortality Weekly was that 6 of the first 10 AIDS cases in San Francisco came directly out of the cohort study of 1980. Published in 1986 by Clad Stevens was a graph which showed that in 1984, approximately 45% of those in her original study were HIV positive, in other words, had become infected for AIDS in 1984. So you must ask yourself, is there some kind of relationship between the hepatitis B vaccine study of the United States and the subsequent outbreak in AIDS in exactly the same population groups in exactly the same time? I personally believe that there is, but I can't answer exactly what that relationship is.
That's kind of interesting, right?
And he did a great job explaining this.
He did. He did. And
apart from the other guy, like the first video that he was kind of confusing and he said, "Oh, you gotta watch this like multiple times."
yeah,
This guy was great. Like I love how he like he got me with that whole explanation of like if it came from them, it would have spread from the jungle to the city. But
yeah.
like so he goes like, yeah, but it's happening the opposite way.
Yeah, exactly. Shouldn't be coming from the cities outward.
Yeah, and like I said, he did a good job. Just like explaining how it happened. That there were studies directed from like the hepatitis B's, which is sexual transmitted, if I'm not mistaken.
Hepatitis B, they give you that if you do
the
needles and shit.
no, but it's also sexually transmitted disease to women.
Oh yeah, no, I know. It's just I like
Because
to disagree with that because it's like a gay sex thing. And
no, yeah, but also like it, you know, it is a like sexually transmitted disease
yeah.
because it's A, B, and C. C being cirrhosis. A is
know a lot
usually
about
transmitted
these, don't
through
you?
uh
I said you know a lot about this.
hepatitis. Actually, yeah, I do. Because I had no, for real, I had hepatitis A.
Isn't that like
is,
was like rust or something?
transmitted. No, is transmitted through foods or like asymptomatic person that like well, it's mainly transmitted through food or water.
So wait, are all the hepatitis just sexual diseases?
Yeah, and they mainly attack your liver.
Ooh, that's not good. Need that
So
liver for booze.
well, yeah, but so the way it works, hepatitis A, it's usually there's people that have symptoms and asymptomatic people. So asymptomatic people, like it usually, they transmit it through like feces or urine,
Hmm.
and pretty much is the long story short is like either they manipulated water that you drink or food, and they pretty much have particles that they like. Let's say for example, they go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
They do not wash their hands and then they touch your food.
Oh,
So,
yes. That happens probably every day.
oh yeah. And, but there's also like, well, when I got it, it was like during the time where I was boxing, I was following like a very strict diet. Like I didn't eat absolutely nothing from like the outside pretty much. Like I manipulated my own food. Like to the T. Like there is no like it's a bits of me eating outside of home or like outside what I had control of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So because I remember telling the doctor because I had to go to a epidemiologist. I think that's the way you call it.
Epidemiologist, I think is.
Yeah. Because like it's something that has to be contained as soon as they detect
Epidemics, baby.
That was before COVID actually. I was in quarantine before the quarantine happened. So
that's fantastic.
The way it works is that they obviously try to pinpoint where it came from. Like because that one day I had food from a restaurant across it was like a partnership with my college, so it's across the street from the college. Like and it's like literally it's not like here where like you gotta like actually get in your car and cross the street. Like you could walk there. Like it was like a 5 minute, like not even 5 minutes, like 3 minutes
those
distance.
too in other colleges, but yeah.
So the way I explained it to the doctor, I was like, all my friends ate at the same place, and some of them even ate the same type of food that I ate. and also too, like, it has to do with your immune system. Like, she pretty much said to me, like, in a more vulgar way, is like, to explain to you in simple words, your friends, if they're used to eating shit,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna happen to them.
Isn't it crazy?
But in your case, because you have been manipulating your own
You've been
food
eating
and
clean.
everything,
Yeah.
exactly. Any little thing will attack your body different than your friends because they're used to eating stuff from the outside world.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
and then they had to pinpoint like what restaurant I got the food from, and it was a whole thing. But yeah. So actually, yes, my man, and hepatitis, for the wrong reasons, I'm well educated on it.
Seems like it, motherfucker. I'm a little surprised. Way to go, Eddie, Mr. Doctor.
And the first way you know one of hepatitis is attacking you is because of your eyes, or you have some sort of problem with your liver. Is your eyes start becoming more
Yellowing, right?
yellow?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I actually remember we were talking about that because one of the other guys that worked with
Co-workers.
us.
I told you, like, I noticed it right away for that same reason.
And he got angry at you, even though you told him, like,
Yeah,
"Hey, man,
and
your
I
liver
didn't say
might
it in
be
a bad way.
failing." It's
like, I was like, dude, you like, your eyes are very yellow. Like, you should go check yourself because you probably have something in your liver. And long story short, then time proved me right that he had a drinking problem.
He did, yeah. I think he even went to the fucking hospital for a long stay.
Yeah.
Clown.
But yeah, that's like your pigment pretty much, like a whole, like your skin can start getting like a yellowish tone, and also your pupils and
you started looking like The Simpsons, huh?
Not to that degree, but yes. Yeah. Even so that your own sweat, like let's say if you were, like, some people present this case that if you have like a white sheet, you're like, if you sweat sometimes, like, it can even be yellow as well, like your sheets.
Honestly, isn't it amazing though, like the way your body works? You just got to pay attention to it. You got to pay attention to your body, because your body will tell you everything that's wrong with you.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But yeah. So that's how I know that hepatitis A is usually like that's the way it's transmitted. B is sexually transmitted disease, and then cirrhosis is pretty much like your liver is completely failing.
Yeah.
Which usually.
Yeah, I've heard the cirrhosis of the liver before. Yeah. That's a big alcohol thing, like huge, like hardcore alcoholics drink a bottle a day. That'll get you cirrhosis of the liver.
And also, too, when you have any of these things, you should very lower. You cannot actually like take medicine for it because your liver is the one that process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because your liver is the one that processes the medicine.
Right.
Yeah. And you can also like not consume a lot of proteins and stuff like that. So pretty much you got to be on a strict carb diet only, and fruits. Yeah.
Really? Honestly, I'm actually glad you brought up the fruit thing. I think we're all supposed to be fruitarians, man.
To some extent, yeah.
Socrates,
and like I said, just like carbs, like rice and stuff, bread, like that, like to some, like how can I say it? To like in smaller quantities, but you have a point there. Just because, like, let's say a protein gets processed by your liver too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much, if you want to recover from any of this, you pretty much have to have your liver rest, because also too, the liver is the only organ that will self-reconstruct.
Isn't it crazy? You could actually cut a bit off of it and it'll actually regenerate. It's like a fucking reptile's tail.
So that's why, like, people that, like, let's say, have huge alcoholism problems, if they follow a strict diet and so forth, they can recover from it.
And chill. Chill on the booze.
Well, yeah, of course, cut out alcohol. But also, too, like, following a strict diet of just, like, fruits and, like, no proteins, pretty much, will recover from it.
That's crazy. It is crazy. Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot. I forgot to read. I should probably read now, shouldn't I? From the book. So let's do that. HIV AIDS. So acquired immunodeficiency syndrome AIDS is the ultimate stage of infection for people who contract human immunodeficiency virus HIV. HIV annihilates the human immune system to the point where it ceases to function. AIDS victims do not die of HIV. They die of commonly pneumonia, cancers such as Kaposi's sarcoma, or some other secondary or tertiary infection. The first recorded AIDS victims were 4 young Los Angeles homosexuals in 1981, though it gradually became apparent that the epicenter of the AIDS Holocaust was not the gay scene in LA or New York, but Africa, below the Sahara. By 2004, 25 million Africans had died from SLIM. That's what they were calling it. And then let's just read the last 2 paragraphs then. The verdict, just as there's no visible end to the AIDS epidemic, there is no sight of an unambiguous understanding of its origins or its course. At least one leading molecular biologist, Professor Peter Duesberg of the University of California, even denies any connection between HIV and AIDS. While the Times of London published in 1987 a 4-page report with strong evidence that AIDS in Africa did shadow the WHO smallpox vaccination program, probably because the vaccination activated a dormant HIV virus in the recipient. Or, in other words, the mad Dr. Strecker, that's this guy, mad Dr. Strecker may have been partially right. Where science failed to authoritatively fill the vacuum, it is hardly surprising that conspiracy theories should have rushed in and flourished. At least 50% of black Americans, according to a 2005 study to the University of Oregon academic, believe that AIDS is an artificial construct, and 10% hold that the CIA developed the HIV virus. Unfortunately, many of the AIDS conspiracy theories are as deadly as the disease itself. They deny the validity of safe sex and clean needle programs. After all, why bother using condoms if AIDS is a bioweapon that can be caught by casual contact? Nor is there any real evidence that the alternative cures promoted by Strecker, it's him again, Raman spectroscopy, Boyd Graves colloidal silver, and others have effect in treating AIDS. AIDS is an engineered virus designed to reduce black population of the globe. Alert level 2. So, after hearing that, I think we probably should go into the next thing then.
Hold on. I do want to
yeah.
say, like, a lot of the things that I said, if I'm wrong or whatever, I'm just basing myself on what...
This is Eddie's experience, what he was told, and all the
from
information
my
that he
doctors
gained.
and stuff like that at the time. That it was like, what was it?
Eddie's protecting himself in case there's some big outrage where everyone starts yelling at him on fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
Don't worry, brother. There's not that many comments
I'm just
in
saying.
our posts.
That was like in 2019, 2018. I can't remember exactly.
2019. That's when they found out Rudolf Hess wasn't a doppelganger.
Coincidence? No, but yeah, like I said, it's just from listening from the doctors, and actually I had a great doctor. She was great. But yeah, so I just want to said that before continuing.
You're good, brother. You're good. You probably didn't even need to say that, but yeah. Eddie likes to cover. Eddie doesn't want to have people yell at him in the comments. That's really what it is. So, ready for the next thing then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You still want to do?
Yeah, I'll do the right. Yeah.
Oh, you want to do right? You were doing left, I thought.
No, that was last episode.
Okay. All right.
This episode, I'm doing only right. I just read the whole thing on one of them.
Okay. All right. Fine.
That's all I do.
Fine. As long as you're sure. Alright, so AIDS worldwide total. So as of 2024, approximately 40.8 million people, I don't know how they get point 0.8, oh, I guess whatever. 40.8 million people are living with HIV worldwide, with 1.3 million new infections and 630,000 AIDS-related deaths occurring that year, while 31.6 million people are accessing life-saving antiretroviral therapy. The epidemic continues to disproportionately affect sub-Saharan Africa, which holds about 2/3 of all cases. Global HIV/AIDS summary 24. Total people living with HIV 40.8 million, up from 39 million in 2022. So there's more cases. New HIV infections 1.3 million. AIDS-related deaths 630,000. Total deaths since start of epidemic 44.1 million. 44 million people have died from AIDS. I swear, if like the Club of Rome doesn't have anything to do with this, I'd be surprised. Treatment access. 31.6 million people are on antiretroviral therapy. Gender disparity. 53% of all people living with HIV are women and girls. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Even though they say it's a gay disease. But yeah, it's women and girls. Key regional and demographic data. Regional impact. Eastern and Southern Africa bears the highest burden, 21.1 million people. Jesus Christ. Followed by Asia and Pacific, 6.9 million. Jeez. And Western and Central Africa, 5.2 million. Demographic. Roughly 1.4 million children under 15 years old are living with HIV. That's a problem. I had heard about that, which I don't want to even talk about on this because, like, look it up. Look it up. It's a problem. Treatment gap. Roughly 9.2 million people are not receiving treatment. That is a problem.
Wow.
That is a problem. But yeah, go ahead and read the next one then.
Who's gonna point out? That might. Was it like also like people that had AIDS and they had a kid? The kid has it, right? Or no?
No, so there was the article slash story that I had heard was that the cure to get rid of it was to actually sleep with someone who didn't have it, and that's what stemmed from that.
No, I mean like the kids, how they get it.
Oh no, that is from what I remember. Let me look. I didn't actually look that up. If you have AIDS and you have a child, but that's probably true. If you have AIDS, child.
Because I remember hearing something like that.
It probably does. Well, it says, no, children are not automatically born with AIDS/HIV.
Oh, okay.
With proper medical treatment, the risk of a parent with HIV transmitting the virus to their baby can be reduced to less than 1%. Without treatment, the risk is about 15 to 45%, but early, consistent antiretroviral therapy makes transmission rare. So, okay, so there's potentially a 15%, 15 to 45% that your child could be born with it. But there's a greater chance that they're not going to be born with it.
They're not. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It was just like like a doubt. Like AIDS by percentage by country. Southern Africa has the highest HIV prevalence rates globally. You know why I remember this? Like why Africa? Have you ever seen God of War with Nicolas Cage? Or no? Have you ever seen that movie?
You know, I own it, but I've never seen it. I don't think.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Are you sure it's called that? You sure it's not Lords of War?
I think it was God of War, because
I think you're confusing that with
I might be wrong.
Video game.
No, I think that's why.
It's called Lord of War.
Oh, it is. Okay, then my bad.
God, Lord, I get it. You're ESL.
But it's not. I'm not the only one because I put God of War and then put an N, and right away it popped up Nicolas Cage. So there's multiple people out there that thought it was called God of War.
Dude, don't even get me started. We're not even talking about the Mandela effect, okay? Like,
Well, I'm just saying that I do remember because he mentions it. Like he goes to
I did actually see
traffic
it. It's a long
arms.
time ago. Hmm.
He goes to Africa. He like is selling arms down there, and like they said like, oh, I leave you a present, and then he says like, oh, I'm in the highest country with HIV, and like pretty much his present was like 2 women, and
Oh,
he's like, and then he
good
was like,
luck,
yeah, I'm in the
Nick.
highest country with HIV, and there's no condom. There's not a condom in like so many like miles or something like that. I can't remember exactly the quote, but
Oh
it's
boy,
just like that's how I know that in South Africa there's like it's like the highest number.
that's nuts.
With adult 15 to 49 rates exceeding 15 to 20% in countries like Eswatini, Lesotho,
I'm just gonna leave
Botswana,
you out to dry on
and
all of
South
these. I'm gonna live.
Africa.
Good luck with these names, brother.
Globally, about 0.7% of adults are living with HIV, with roughly 630,000 annual AIDS-related deaths in 2024, down 54% since 2010 due to increased treatment access. Highest HIV prevalence by country, adults 15 to 49, is Waitini, Swaziland. 23.4% to 38.8%. Lesotho, I guess. 17.1% to 28.9%. Botswana.
Yeah.
15.7% to 37.3%. South Africa. 14.4% to 21.5%. Zimbabwe. 23.1% per 2024 estimates. Key regional and demographic trends. Sub-Saharan Africa
But
remains.
before you get into that, what did you just read? Highest HIV prevalence by country. And they
Yeah.
give wide gaps in percentages. 17 to
Mhm.
28%, 15 to 37%, 14 to 21%.
It's
Like,
like at
you
least
can't narrow
higher
it
than
down.
10%. Yeah, no.
Like, wouldn't you just, like, if you were putting together a graph, wouldn't you just put, like, instead of 15 to 37, wouldn't you just put, like,
Just put the higher
26?
number.
Or
Yeah.
or not even just go with the higher one, just go with, like, the median average. Like, wouldn't that be, like, what you
Nah,
do?
they gotta make it more complicated. Just
Just make it seem professional.
yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Key regional and demographic trends. Sub-Saharan Africa remains the most affected region, accounting from the vast majority of people living with HIV. Gender disparity. In sub-Saharan Africa, women and girls account for roughly 63% of new HIV infections.
Insane.
Key populations. Globally, higher prevalence is found among marginalized groups, 7.6% among gay men who have sex with men, and up to 8.5% among transgender people.
Wait, let me ask you this. Among gay men, they have to spell it out and say men who have sex with men. It's like, oh, okay. Is that what gay men are?
I don't
Okay.
want to get into it because now there's so many. There's so many different. Well, not really.
Wouldn't a
I
gay
don't know.
man be a man that has sex with
Yeah.
men?
Well, you
Like,
will.
do I need to
You
spell
will
it out?
technically assume
UN
that, but
AIDS?
nowadays there's so many different things
Oh, I
that
forget that
I
gay
don't
men
want
are
to get
also
into it.
women who have sex with men.
I don't want to
Okay.
get in. I would rather stay out of that topic. That's a very
Eddie doesn't want to strike on YouTube.
no, not even that. It's just a little delicate subject right there that gets a lot of people riled up. So rather not speak on that topic. Europe. HIV prevalence is much lower, often below 1% of the
Really?
population, with the highest rates of new cases in countries like Malta, Ireland, and Cyprus. Also, I did want to point out because
No.
it says like 50 like the deaths went down like 54% since
Mhm.
2010. The one that always comes to mind, like this is the thing that always like I remember like seeing because there's like a bunch of propaganda like all over like news outlets and yada 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 and all these different places about HIV and that you
Mhm.
got to protect yourself and everything. And while all this is going on, like how many people are dying and so forth, I always remember because Magic Johnson,
Mhm.
that guy has had HIV for as long as I've probably been alive.
You will
It
find out
seems like,
very soon why.
and it seems like he has. Well, I don't know. Well, God bless him, but he's never seemed like he's really gone through like a very bad like health
He seems like he's
problem.
never lost any weight, right? They call it the
Yeah,
thin disease in Africa because it does. That's what happens. You turn into just skin and bones and you die.
yeah.
Like, that's what happens. But that motherfucker's been, like, strong and bulky forever.
He actually gained weight.
He did gain weight. He didn't gain any hair, but he gained weight.
So that's just like what always confused me, like growing up, like seeing all these propaganda of like, and then
Oh,
they
yeah.
obviously they use like impactful images of like people that had it, and you
Absolutely.
just see like the transformation that they went through because of this disease, and then you see this other person that like it was wildly uh like covered by news and everything, and
Yeah.
he seems healthy like since he had it
Absolutely.
till now, to actually till now.
Hey, still doing well. But like I
Mhm.
said, you're going to find out why that man of that stature is still
Hey,
doing
and you know
okay.
what else comes to mind is that episode on South Park when like they explain it and it's just because he injects himself with money,
Yeah,
liquid money or something like that. Oh, that's hilarious.
it's pretty close to that. It's pretty close to that as a reality. Yes, nuts. It is nuts, man. Any other things before the
No, no,
next
no.
slide? Okay. So, and I'll just read this. So you know how he had mentioned in the back.
Yes, yes, that it was like African and like
AIDS is an
super.
engineered virus designed to reduce black population of the globe. Alert level 2. Okay? That's what this gentleman was talking about. And AIDS by percentage by race in 2023, black African American people in the U.S. account for 38% of new HIV diagnoses, the highest percentage of any racial group, followed by Hispanics slash Latinos at 33.6. Sorry, Eddie. Black Americans who make up
You fucker.
12% of the U.S. population are disproportionately affected, with the new diagnosis rates roughly 8 times higher than those for white individuals in 2022. New HIV diagnoses by race, ethnicity, 2023-2022 data. So black African American, 38 to 37%. Hispanic Latino, 33.6 to 33. White, 22.9 to 24. So like we're all within pretty close
Yeah,
to each
this
other
is like
still.
what you were just mentioning before. Like this is more narrowed down. Like it's
Yeah.
not that huge of a gap.
No, it's not. Multiracial, 2.7%. Asian, 2.1. American Indian slash Alaska Native, 0.5. Native Hawaiian slash other Pacific Islander, 0.1. Key disparities: disproportionate impact. Black African American and Hispanic Latino individuals combined make up roughly 70% of new HIV infections,
Big
despite
side
being
note.
a
I was just gonna
minority.
say,
Ah,
let's go to Asia. They don't have it down there.
So let me ask you this though, because this is something that kind of goes into it too, is because there's such a stigma on it being known as the gay disease, right? That's what they fucking said it was.
hmm That was the
It
first name. That was the first name for it.
That's what they said. It was called GRID.
Yeah, no, I
Gay.
know that's the first name that they
That's
decided to make.
what they picked. That is what they fucking picked. Um, But think about it. Like, so say you get it, right? Say you get HIV or AIDS or something, or say someone does. If you go, are you gonna tell people about it? So they'll be
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Oh, you're
you got a
gay."
great point. You have a fantastic point.
You're not
Among
gonna tell anybody
Asian,
about it.
yeah, Asian like beliefs and everything. Like you know how like
Well,
a
think
lot of
about
times
a
from
super
country to
Catholic
country.
country.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So you think
and
there's not
also too like
Italians out
yeah.
there, or like, come on, let's be serious. No, the whole thing. Like, you're not gonna tell any. Most people probably aren't even gonna tell
Yeah,
anybody. That's
you are right. You got a valid point right there.
well, that's
Yeah,
one
if
of
you go
the.
like Asian, well, like not all, but you know, like how in Asia, like there's usually like, well, like Japan, there's a high number of suicides and
Mhm.
everything just because of like stress. So
Oh my
imagine like
goodness, yeah.
having something like this. Yeah, you have a valid point. Like they will
Well,
not come
that's.
forward
I
for it.
still think they should have put that stupid Paul punk in prison after he went and it was disgraceful in the suicide forest in Japan. Like, fuck that guy.
Nah, now it's all in the past. Now he's a WWE superstar.
No, he's a fucking big guy. Yeah. Are you guys like you got to be kidding? Like everybody
He
forgot
has
about
one of the
that?
best redemption stories of all times. Okay.
Yeah, and you know how he fucking made his money by making stupid videos on YouTube, smashing plates against the ground and being an arrogant asshole. Like, this is what we want for our people. Like, it's just insane. When I see the shit that all these people do, and it's like, wait a minute, me and Eddie aren't famous yet. We're actually giving people knowledge, but these people that do stupid shit, they want to watch them be stupid and yell. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it does.
And
It
it's
really
also,
does.
if you notice it too, like, well, yeah, it was stupid, but they were like, most of the time in the beginning, they were not harming people. But now, like, if you do like quick glance of like certain videos, like, it's just like people just being assholes to other people.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I really, like,
Yep.
there's sometimes where like a little prank is okay, like that'll be funny, but sometimes like there's people just borderline just like fucking being assholes to people, and it's like, how is this funny? You know?
It's not funny. I think it's just a matter of people just get locked in and they're like it's just like watching like you've seen the Karen videos, right?
Mhm.
Where like
Mhm.
this lady's just going nuts and like nobody should give her any attention whatsoever because she's going absolutely insane. But we do. Everybody, well, I don't, but a lot of people will. They'll sit there and watch her go on this tirade, and she'll just be yelling at this supervisor who really had nothing to do with anything, but he's getting just laid into by this lady, and it's like I think everybody's waiting for the supervisor to just like punch her in the mouth. Like I feel like that's what everybody's waiting. It doesn't happen, but they're all hoping. Like in the back of their mind, they're like, oh, "You better punch her." Like I would punch this bitch, like, but it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Ugh. It's weird. It's weird stuff, man. It really is. Um, but yeah, so let me reread that again. Disproportionate impact Black, African American, and Hispanic Latino individuals combined make up roughly 70% of new HIV infections, despite being a minority of the total U.S. population. Case rates in 2022, the rate of new HIV diagnosis per 100,000 was 41.6 for black individuals compared to 23.4 for Latinos and 5.3 for white individuals. So it seems like it's going the other direction towards what Johnny Lewis said wasn't happening. Gender, black men face the highest rate, followed by Latino men. Among women, black women face the highest rate of new infections. Factor contributing to disparities. These disparities are driven by structural factors including limited access to high quality healthcare, stigma, homophobia, see, there we go, and discrimination, poverty and racism. I mean, I guess if the people who invented it are giving it to all the people of different races, I could see it being a call for racism, but otherwise I don't see it being called for, you know what I mean? Like, For comprehensive data, see reports from the CDC and AIDS VU, so you can get lied to by their websites.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? The whole thing is weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like Johnny Lewis got all the facts right on that one. Doesn't.
Oh my God.
Doesn't.
I love whenever you mention Johnny Lewis.
I mean, yeah, he's not telling us the truth. You know, it is funny though. Actually, a couple of references that he used on him. One guy is Leonard Horowitz, right? He's got a documentary that's called Emerging Viruses, AIDS, and Ebola. So I originally had a video that he clipped out from there where it's actually it's like a group of doctors all talking to each other. I forget exactly what like it was about, but the one doctor admits to actually putting cancer into a ton of people because he made this vaccine with this type of thing, and it's like, oh my God. So I didn't put the video in there because it was like he mentions HIV and AIDS in the whole thing too. But I'm like, nah, I mean, our doctors are bad as it is. But yeah, Leonard Horowitz I would recommend. And also, I couldn't find his documentary for not priced. Because a long time ago, he was giving all his shit out for free. I will have his link in the description so that way you guys can take a look at his website. But it's $5 for the video. So if you really want to watch the video, it's $5. Which, again, at the end of the day, isn't that bad. And it gives him money to go research more. But he's also on YouTube now, too. I'm surprised at that with what he says. But yeah. So any questions you got for the next thing?
No.
Okay. So, see, you should have picked left, brother.
Yeah, the fuck yeah. I knew it was coming. It had to come. You know, like, it was just like, it was too good to be true, you know.
That's true. So actually, since I'm having myself a little coughing fit and I'm going to get myself another beverage, why don't you go ahead and read the left one, since I made you remember a date, and then I will read the right one.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Who Africa smallpox?
Who is WHO, World Health Organization, sorry.
Smallpox was eliminated from Africa in 1977 thanks to the intensified smallpox eradication program, which began in 1967 and focused on mass vaccination, surveillance, and containment. This coordinated effort utilized vaccines provided by international partners and archived success through massive surveillance containment activities in West and Central Africa. Key aspects of the smallpox vaccination campaign in Africa. Final eradication. The last endemic case of smallpox in Africa occurred in 1977. Regional strategy started in 1966. A major campaign across 20 countries in West and Central Africa used mass vaccination and surveillance to eradicate the disease within a few years. International support. The program received significant technical and financial assistance from the CDC and WHO. Vaccine type. The vaccine did not contain the Virola virus, but rather a related virus called vaccinia, applied via a bifurcated needle.
Bifurcated.
The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. In 1966, the DRC launched a national campaign for smallpox eradication, CNEV, with WHO supported. Utilize mobile teams to reach populations by vehicle, boat, and foot. Post-eradication, smallpox was certified as globally eradicated in 1980, and routine vaccination was stopped in 1979.
Yeah, they already gave him AIDS, so.
Modern stockpiles. The WHO maintains a stockpile of vaccines for emergency preparedness. and the regional office for Africa monitors for any related orthopox virus outbreaks.
What did you think of that? How many times did you see 1977?
Yeah.
And the funny thing too is like they started in 1967, and you know that this disease isn't like a instant killer, instant show up kind of thing. It's a longer term type thing, which kind of fits. Like 10 years later, everyone's got AIDS. Okay. I know correlation's not causation, but
It's all connected.
I mean,
It's all
kinda. So, and then for hepatitis B, so in 1982, the first hepatitis B vaccine, plasma-derived, was approved in the United States. Plasma-derived would be blood, right? Blood-based. In the United States, and in June of that year, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, ACIP, look at how much money do we waste in fucking letter agencies? Jesus. Issued the first official recommendations for its use. Rather than specific cities, the 1982 vaccination program was launched as a nationwide initiative targeting specific high-risk populations rather than a general public rollout. Okay? Key populations and settings identified for the initial 1982 high-risk vaccination campaign included healthcare workers with frequent exposures to blood, institutions for the developmentally disabled staff and clients, hemodialysis patients, individuals with high-risk behaviors, men who have sex with men, intravenous drug users, household contacts of acute or chronic hepatitis B carriers. So they specifically targeted gay men and intravenous drug users, and healthcare workers and institutions, and pretty much that. Specific regional programs and contexts, 1982 and 1984. USA, the CDC focused on targeting vaccinations on the above groups, but uptake was slow and universal vaccination did not begin until 1991. Alaska. The Alaska Native Immunization Program began in the early 1980s, which eventually wiped out new hepatitis B infections in children under 10 by 1994. Didn't you say it's a sexually transmitted disease?
Hepatitis B, yeah.
Okay. So, wouldn't it already be eradicated in children under 10?
Well, yeah,
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Switzerland. A large vaccination campaign was carried out in Vaud hospitals from 1982 to 1984 for 62 employees. It's very specific. Czech Republic, control of occupational hepatitis B among healthcare workers was implemented between 1982 and 1985. While some pilot studies existed, the 1982 launch was aimed at high-risk groups across the U.S., not a city-specific universal program. So they didn't roll it out to everybody. It was specifically put into people.
Seems like it.
Right? I'll look up hepatitis B real quick. B. Yeah, hepatitis B is a serious liver infection caused by the hepatitis B virus, transmitted through infected blood, semen, or bodily fluids. So yeah, back to the under 10 years old. Okay. Alaska's weird, I guess. Alaska's weird. Alaska's on the Epstein files. Jesus Christ. All right, you ready for the next thing, brother? This is like weird.
Yeah.
Okay, good. This is the video. So this is the last video, and this is our guy. His whole video is like 2 hours long, and This isn't 2 hours long, so, but I clipped it out too because as you watch, you're gonna see a guy with like gray hair that's like, and I'm gonna dumb it down for you. So I cut out him dumbing it down for us. But there are certain parts throughout the video to where when he interjects and says, "Hey, this is what's going on," isn't a bad thing to have. So, but it's like 2 hours long. It is. I do have it listed in the details so that way you guys can watch the full thing because I would recommend you watch it. He does come up with at the end, because he's actually treated patients. He has patients that he treats who have HIV/AIDS. So like this is from like the horse's mouth kind of a thing, where it's like, like he actually works with these guys. So he's not like biased or just coming up with random shit. But any questions you got before we roll into it?
No, I'm ready.
Okay, you'll like it. It's good.
I'm Dr. Robert Strecker, a practicing internist and gastroenterologist in Los Angeles. I have a special interest in pharmacology, pathology, and now AIDS. I became interested in the AIDS question several years ago in doing a health maintenance proposal, basically an insurance proposal for Security Pacific Bank, a bank here in California. More and more members of the medical and research community, such as Dr. Peter Duesberg, the University of California at Berkeley, Dr. John Seal, a member of the Royal Society of Medicine of London, and Dr. Alan Cantwell, who has recently finished a third book on AIDS, this one on the origin of AIDS, are questioning the validity of the popular view about AIDS, which has failed to scientifically explain the disease. So I've decided it's time that someone tells you the truth about AIDS. So in this program, I will show you how the AIDS virus was actually predicted, requested, produced, deployed, and now threatens the very existence of mankind because it works. To understand why I believe that the AIDS virus came out of a laboratory rather than out of the jungles of Africa, you have to understand several important concepts which I will address in the next few minutes. These concepts actually include an understanding of viruses, bacteria, human cell lines, tissue culture, and manipulation of all of those things in the laboratory. In the first question about the AIDS virus, in addressing what the AIDS virus is, the virus has a morphology, something of this form, which is actually a so-called D-type retrovirus. So what are viruses? Some people say that viruses are the smallest replicating microorganisms. Some people say that viruses are bad news in a sugar coat. Actually, in the case of a retrovirus, the AIDS virus, which is R-E-T-R-O, retrovirus, what does this mean? Viruses in general are thought to be the smallest replicating organisms that require other cells to grow themselves in. Viruses are not capable of reproducing themselves on their own outside of living tissue, is the dogma of the scientists today. Viruses must inhabit another cell for eventual growth and reproduction. Bacteria, fungi, and some other organisms actually are capable of growing outside of tissue. In other words, they don't have to inhibit or inhabit other tissue to reproduce themselves. They can grow on tissue culture plates, such as bacteria. But viruses must grow inside of tissue, which requires that there be living human or animal tissue for them to replicate in. Now, if we look at the word retrovirus, we know that this is a small self-replicating organism which grows inside of living tissue. Now, what does the term retro stand for? The term retro, in the case of this virus, stands for the fact that contained within the AIDS virus and other so-called human retroviruses or other animal retroviruses are small enzymes known as reverse transcriptase. That is where the word retro comes from. The reverse transcriptase, which is the RE comes from reverse, and the TRO comes from transcriptase. That is an enzyme in the AIDS virus which actually is responsible for duplication of the genes of the AIDS virus, which are in an RNA form, different than human form. Human genetic material is in a DNA form. So if the AIDS virus is to insert itself into human material, somehow after infection of the cell, what happens is this enzyme duplicates the RNA of the AIDS virus into a DNA form and actually inserts that into the human DNA. If you have an example, here's a cell, and inside this cell, here's the human DNA. what happens is the AIDS virus genes get in and are actually duplicated into DNA form, copied by the reverse transcriptase. That information is then inserted into the genetic makeup of the human cell. This is now an AIDS virus residing in the human genes, which then sends out a signal for production of a new AIDS virus. So the RNA is the genetic information of all retroviruses. It's copied into the DNA form by the reverse transcriptase, inserted into the genes, and subsequent production of new virus. Now, how does this AIDS virus, which is a human retrovirus of the D type,
it's faster.
How does this virus affect humans? Basically, the immune system of humans is broken down into two parts. It's very simple. One is called B cells and one is called T cells. B cells are derived from the bursa fabricius, but the easy way to remember B is that they control basically production of antibodies and control bacterial infections, therefore B rather than bursa. You can think of it as bacteria. T cell systems control opportunistic infections such as pneumocystis carinii pneumonia, the production of cancers like Kaposi sarcoma, and other microorganisms such as tuberculosis. So that if you wiped out the T cell system, you could see the arisal of opportunistic infections such as pneumocystic carinii pneumonia, a hallmark of AIDS, Kaposi sarcoma, an alleged sarcoma, and another hallmark of AIDS, or other diseases. If you wiped out the B system, you would have trouble protecting yourself against bacteria and perhaps in developing antibodies. Now, in the case of the AIDS virus, once it infects the human body, selectively destroys the T4 cells of the human body. The T4 cells are a division of the T lymphocytic system, the one that helps us control cancers, fungi, pneumocystis carinii pneumonia, and other organisms. The AIDS virus selectively leads to the destruction of those cells. If you look at the overall incidence of these new so-called human retroviruses, you'll discover the following. First, there is HTLV1, a new human retrovirus which is responsible for T-cell leukemia. There is HTLV2, which has this appearance, which is responsible for the development of hairy cell leukemia. And we have HTLV3, which looks like this. These are the best known so far, which is the AIDS virus, responsible for AIDS. Now, interestingly enough, when you put these viruses into tissue culture, what happens? This virus is proliferative in tissue culture. It makes things grow. It's not surprising, therefore, that you might see the arisal of a T-cell leukemia because the virus's very nature is to make the cells proliferate. This virus is proliferative in tissue culture, results in humans in the development of hairy cell leukemia, and again, by its basic proliferative nature in tissue culture, it's not surprising that you can see arising hairy cell leukemia. This virus in tissue culture is destructive. It was one of the reasons that they had trouble getting enough of the virus because suppose this was a tissue culture, every time they put in the AIDS virus, what would happen was they'd come back in a few days and the tissue culture would be dead. Basically, there would be left just debris with very little virus, no living cells. That is basically what happens in human beings because in humans, we are nothing more than walking tissue cultures. So,
yeah, kind of.
Suppose we have a human being here. He gets infected with the AIDS virus, and what happens? Eventually, the AIDS virus wipes out his T4 lymphocytes, destroys his thymus most probably, and as a result, relieves him immune suppressed, immune compromised, and susceptible to the development of infections such as pneumocystis carinii pneumonia or the arisal of cancer such as Kaposi sarcoma. These have been the basic hallmarks of the AIDS virus. But again, let's look at the overall picture. And the overall picture is that suddenly in humans, we have an explosion of disease, not just AIDS, but other retroviruses. HTLV1, a T-cell leukemia virus, HTLV2, HTLV3, HTLV4, which is a new, recently recognized AIDS virus, also known as HIV-2. HTLV5, which is the cause of mycosis fungoides, and HTLV1 lookalike, which looks like this. I call it 1 lookalike. Now, even looking at, say, let's throw AIDS out for a minute, you have to ask yourself, where did all these other viruses come from? And my explanation as to where these other things have come from, along with the AIDS virus, is the following. If you look at animals, particularly cattle and sheep, you'll discover an interesting phenomenon. In cattle, there's a virus known as bovine leukemia virus, which has the exact same morphology, which means shape, the exact same relative molecular weight, the same magnesium dependency, and the ability to produce B and T cell leukemia of cattle, and is proliferative in tissue culture. If you look at bovine syncytial virus, you'll find another virus of cattle, which has the same shape, the same magnesium dependency, the same basic appearance, and produces hairy cell leukemia in cattle. If you look back, you can discover a virus known as bovine Visna virus, which has the same appearance as AIDS, the same molecular weight, the same magnesium dependency, and in 1974, either 1 or 3 here, bovine leukemia or bovine Visna virus, was producing pneumocystis carinii pneumonia in chimpanzees. And if that isn't AIDS, I don't know what it is. Now we have HTLV4, which may represent a recombination between Visna and HTLV2, or bovine syncytial virus here, which is a new AIDS virus, growing, just identified, which has this appearance. We have HTLV5, which I'm not sure in animals what it is, and we have HTLV1 lookalike. Why do I bring up the question of cattle viruses and sheep viruses when everybody says that these viruses came from monkeys? I say that for the following reason. If you look at the genes of the AIDS virus, the genes of the AIDS virus don't look like monkeys. The genes of the AIDS virus, in every paper published to date, look like the following: bovine leukemia virus of cattle or Visna virus of sheep. Now, these are retroviruses of animals, and these viruses are known to cause brain rot in sheep and to cause leukemia of cattle. So, is it possible, I mean, it was my question, is it possible to cross these two viruses and make AIDS? Now, of course, if you go down and ask your local AIDS expert, is that possible? Most of them will probably lie and tell you, no, that's not possible, that's just nonsense. But the truth of the matter is that AIDS viruses, in a sense, are much like humans, in that if you have bovine leukemia virus on one hand and Visna virus on the other hand, and you simultaneously infect a human tissue culture, what comes out of that infection is not only the original parents, bovine leukemia virus and Visna virus, but what comes out of that is every possible recombinant that will grow. In fact, not only that, also comes out of the ones that won't grow, which you can't identify because some of them down here are recombinants that come out, but they won't reproduce. They're called, in fact, in retrovirology, those are called incompetent. They're not capable of reproduction. You might call them impotent. They can't reproduce. So we get out not only the competent, but the impotent. So, in fact, these viruses do, in a sense, not only reproduce themselves, but they make babies, which are different than the parental strains. It's just like each of us. Each of us is the recombination of our fathers and our mothers. If you say, well, we look at the AIDS virus, and we say, well, it's only 50% identical to Visna, and it's only 50% identical to bovine leukemia. And they say that's, quote, distally related. It's like saying I'm distally related to my mother or my father because I only contain 50% of their genes. Of course, that's nonsense. The fact is that containing 50% of the genes of the virus, you could be the direct descendant of the parents. It's the same as each of us. Each of us is a direct descendant of our parents, and we contain 50% of our mother's genes and 50% of our father's genes. Now, we say that this virus was predicted. Now, how can we say that? We can say that because if you review the literature as far back as 1966, a writing in Lancet, McFarland Burnett said the following.
The human implications of what is going on in the sophisticated universe of tissue culture cells, bacteria, and the viruses are at best dubious, at most frankly terrifying. Later, in concluding an article addressing the bad aspects of molecular biology, the author states, "This series of articles is designed, I believe, to persuade readers to think again about some current dogmas that have grown up in medicine, and not necessarily to offer alternative approaches." These dogmas could be referring to those regarding AIDS, many of which are not true. Regardless of your beliefs in the origin of man, being that of an evolutionist or creationist, the author raises an alarming point about the manipulation of mankind through genetic engineering. Medicine must make use of all the sciences, but it must also recognize the limitations that the process of evolution and the nature of man places on their utilization. It is a hard thing for an experimental scientist to accept, but it is becoming all too evident that there are dangers in knowing what we should not know.
So what is he saying there? He's saying that we're fooling around with the very nature of life, and that when you're doing that, you may have some problems. If you're a creationist and you believe that God created the universe, the answer would be, what makes you think that you can make it better? If you're an evolutionist and you believe that man evolved over thousands of years and all life evolved, then what makes you think that you can make it better in a few years compared to what has taken, say, hundreds of thousands of years to occur? Back to the prediction. If we address what J. Clemenson said...
J. Clemenson from the Danish Cancer Registry, in addressing an international assembly of leukemia experts, said, "We are in fact establishing conditions for a possible pandemic of an oncogenic virus varied on the scale of influenza of 1918.
Now, what is she saying there? She's saying that what's going to happen in the near future, and she said this in '73, is that someday you're going to be walking down the street, and what drops on you isn't going to be influenza, it's going to be leukemia or cancer.
Nah.
She says,
It is possible to visualize the mutation of a virus into a variety of high contagiosity to man, resulting in a pandemic of neoplastic disease before we could even develop a vaccine.
What is she saying here? She's saying that what's going to happen, and she says it here, is because of serial passage of viruses in tissue culture and adaptation to man, that you will develop a new virus which will infect man, give him cancer before you have the chance to develop a vaccine against that. And my question is, isn't that just exactly what has happened with the AIDS pandemic?
Yeah, totally.
She closes by saying, basically, we who are about to die salute you. And I'm not quite sure what that means, but we can each draw our own conclusions. Now, how could you adapt a virus, say bovine Visna virus, if you had it in hand to grow in human beings? This is actually the crux of the AIDS issue. The NIH would have us believe, and other so-called AIDS experts, that the virus jumped species from chimpanzees in Africa to humans by biting someone on the butt, and then bam, we got AIDS all over Africa. Now, of course, they tell us, don't they, that you can't transfer this virus by biting or by saliva, yet they would have us believe that this monkey transferred it by saliva, and the fact of the matter is that the AIDS virus reportedly won't grow in African green monkeys. It doesn't cause disease there, and the genes of the AIDS virus don't look like monkeys. They look like the disease affecting cattle and sheep. So, if we had a virus named bovine Visna in our laboratory, how could we adapt it, accidentally or on purpose, to grow in humans? Now, that was addressed in a series of very interesting experiments published by Stuart Aronson of the National Institute of Health in 1971. The first article was called Common Alterations of RNA Tumor Viruses, and what he did was he grew a mouse virus, an RNA retrovirus of mice, in human tissue. And what happened was that mouse virus adapted to human tissue. It became human-like in a sense, and it would now only grow in human tissue. It would no longer grow in a mouse. Now, that was expanded in 1972 or so in a paper published by Leon Domchowski and Kosho Maruyama from Texas Medicine, 1973, in an article entitled Cross-Species Transmission of Mammalian, we're mammals, RNA tumor viruses. And what they did in this paper was to show that you could take a species such as, say, cattle or sheep, and serially passage a virus, specifically an RNA retrovirus, in tissue cultures and adapt that virus to grow in another species like man. So, if the basic question is cross-species transmission of these viruses, you say, how did cross-species transmission occur? Did it occur by some monkey biting somebody on the butt in Africa and then AIDS all over Africa? Or was it by serial adaptation of the virus to humans by growth in human tissue culture? Now, you say the virus is requested. How can we say this virus was requested? Surely nobody would request the AIDS virus.
72.
Yet, when you address Bulletin of the World Health Organization, published in 1972, it says specifically the following.
An attempt should be made to ascertain whether viruses can in fact exert selective effects on the immune function by depressing 7S versus 19S antibody or by affecting T-cell as opposed to B-cell function. The possibility should be looked into that the immune response to the virus may itself be impaired if the effective viruses damage more or less selectively the cells responding to the viral antigens.
It's the World Health
Now, what does
Organization.
that say? That says,
Saying
let's make
that.
a cell, let's make a virus that selectively inhibits the T-cell system of man. And of course, what is that virus? That virus is AIDS. So, is it a mere coincidence that we now have a pandemic of a T-cell destroying virus, which was in a sense predicted, and here requested, growing in Africa and the United States? Now, this question was addressed partially in an article written Monday, May 11th, 1987. And in that article, in the front page of the London Times, which addressed the question of, was there an association between the WHO vaccine programs in Africa and the outbreak of AIDS? Their conclusion was the following, that there was an association. What the story goes like this. Supposedly somebody had been hired by the WHO to investigate whether or not the WHO vaccine programs in Africa, the WHO meaning the World Health Organization, which were the WHO vaccine programs which were responsible for eradication of smallpox in Africa, may have been a contributing factor to the spread of AIDS in Africa. Evidently, a researcher who has remained anonymous, is afraid to reveal his name, was hired by the World Health Organization to investigate that study. He did a study over a year or two. He wrote a report. He submitted it to the World Health Organization, the WHO, was paid, and that was the end of it. A year or so later, he walks in to the London Times and throws the report on Pierce Wright's desk, who is the science writer at the London Times, and said, if you really want to know what's going on with AIDS in Africa, here's the answer. That article was the impetus for the printing of this story, which said there's a correspondence between the WHO's program in Africa and the outbreak of AIDS. As far as we know, this has never been discussed or addressed in this country. And I find that particularly interesting as to why it's never been addressed in the United States for the following reason. A quote in that article on Monday, May 11th was from Dr. Robert Gallo, who is the reported co-discoverer of the AIDS virus, who said that this was an interesting and important hypothesis. An interesting and important hypothesis. Well, if it's interesting and important, how come nobody's addressing it? Obviously, in a sense, the answer to that might be, if you made AIDS, would you tell anybody? Of course not.
Right.
Now, how could this virus have been, say, inoculated by the WHO in Africa? There are two ways. Obviously, if it was intentional, that is the first way. Intentional, and people say, well, that's absurd. And I say, no, that's not absurd because of the following reason. Beginning in the early 30s or 40s in this country, in Tuskegee, Alabama, there was a study undertaken by the United States Public Health Service which enlisted black men who were infected with syphilis, omega syphilis. And those black men were serially followed over many years. The important part of that study was that they were also followed after penicillin became available, and most of them were specifically prevented from being treated with penicillin, which led to the infection of their wives and the development of congenitally infected syphilitic black children in the Tuskegee, Alabama experiment. Now that is documented in a book by James Jones, entitled Bad Blood. For anybody who'd like to review the intentional infliction of disease upon American citizens, you can address yourself to this book, Bad Blood by James Jones. Furthermore, between 1959 and approximately 1970, there were over 300 biological experiments conducted on United States citizens, unknowns to them, such as documented in a book called A Higher Form of Killing by Paxman and Harris, which documents all of the biological warfare history of the United States that's known more or less in book form. But to say that this government or other governments are not capable of doing these kinds of experiments is to not face reality. So obviously if it was intentionally induced, then there could be a reason to see the explosion of AIDS in Africa. But more, there could be an accidental introduction. And how could that have occurred? It could have occurred in the following manner. If you look at cattle, how was the AIDS virus produced? I mean, how was the smallpox vaccine produced? Smallpox vaccine was produced, according to the report by the WHO, the World Health Organization, in approximately 46 countries, directly from cattle. The belly of a cow would be shaved, it would be sliced open, smallpox vaccine would be dripped on, he would be placed in stanchions so that he couldn't lick his belly. A week or so later, they'd come by, place a stainless steel container underneath it, shave off the scabs, collect the scabs and effluent into the stainless steel container, dry it out, and that's your next smallpox vaccine. Now, obviously, any virus contaminating the cow, such as bovine Visna virus, bovine leukemia virus, bovine syncytial virus, could be a potential contaminant of that smallpox preparation. In 1981, Cedric Mims, writing in Microbiological Reviews, stated that an alleged bovine Visna virus was a known contaminant of fetal calf serum. Now, what does that mean? That means that in 1981, at the same time that the AIDS virus was discovered, that they identified a virus named bovine Visna, which was contaminating fetal calf serum of cows. That means that this virus was present not only in cows, but was present in the growth media that was being used on tissue cultures worldwide. It means that fetal calf serum, which is like the growth hormone for human and other animal tissue cultures, was contaminated with a virus which we know may have some, if not a direct, identicality to AIDS.
So they kind of knew that it was out there, and they just kind of hushed it up.
Like everything.
Dude, like, it's insane. It's insane. But yeah, the whole thing, because then he goes through deployment. Oh, no, I think he kind of just went through deployment a little bit. But then he goes through protection. Then he goes through the myths. Then he goes through treatment. So there's a lot more to this documentary, which is great. It really is a good documentary. But what do you think so far of that?
Well, yeah, like you said, like since the beginning, like it's out there. They knew about it, and then some way, somehow, it just blew up, right back up, and it became a big thing.
I think it was intentional, Eddie. I don't trust our people who are in charge. I think they want us all to die. I'm still on the Club of Rome thing, man, where they want to get us down to like 2 million people total? Isn't that what they wanted? It's insane. Absolutely insane. But yeah, any questions for the next thing then?
No.
Okay. So, You're reading right still, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, which is good because that's the one I actually want you to read. So let's take a look at the left, which is how much do pharma companies make off HIV/AIDS treatments, right? 'Cause they don't have a cure. Pharma companies generate billions annually from HIV/AIDS treatments, with the global market expected to exceed 40 billion by 2026. Gilead Sciences dominates the market with its drug Biktarvy alone generating roughly $12 billion in 2023. While high-income nations pay top prices, e.g. $28,000 plus per year for some treatments, manufacturing costs for generics can be less than $100 per patient per year. Isn't that amazing? Where, like, depending on where you live, you might get fucked. That's why, like, everyone's driving to Canada to go get drugs. Key takeaways on HIV/AIDS treatment profits. Market leadership, Gilead Sciences held 4 of the 8 highest grossing HIV drugs in 2023. Top selling drugs 2023. Biktarvy, Gilead, 11.85 billion in sales. Dovato, GSK slash VIIV Healthcare, 2.23 billion. Genvoya, Gilead, another one of those guys, 2.06 billion. Descovy, Gilead, 1.99 billion. Oh man, high profit margins. While companies, high profit margins. While companies argue high costs for research and development, critics point to massive discrepancies between production costs and sales prices. For example, a new preventative injection, lenacapavir, could be manufactured for under $40 annually, but is listed for over $28,000 per year in the U.S. Oh my God. What a fucking terrible. These are the people that we trust. Government-funded research. Many highly profitable drugs, including Truvada for PrEP, were developed with significant taxpayer-funded research via the CDC and NIH, leading to debates over monopoly pricing, according to A&D. I guess so. A&D. Yeah. House.gov. Global market value. The total HIV drug market is vast, with North America accounting for roughly 70% of the market share. Paying $28,000 per year, if not more. Despite high list prices, low-cost generic initiatives are emerging for low-income countries, offering to reduce treatment costs to roughly $25 to $40 per patient per year. Well, they infected them. They should give it to them for free. Okay, I'm sorry. It pisses me off. It does. Go ahead and tell us this here is. I asked the question. I got rid of it because it was. I just put the whole thing on there. But like I asked, like, what was what's the cure for it? And then the top part said there is no cure, but you could live with it. So that's where I cut out the rest of it. So go ahead.
Estimated cost of lifetime management, United States. The total cost to manage HIV/AIDS over a lifetime in the U.S. is estimated at approximately $420,285, discounted for modern currency value of over $1 million in undiscounted figures.
That's why Magic Johnson's still alive.
Monthly costs. Standard care typically ranges from $1,800 to $4,500 per month. Cost drivers. Approximately 60% of these costs are the entire
Antiretroviral
viral medications, while the remainder covers regular doctor visits, lab tests, and treatment for opportunistic infections. Early interventions. Starting treatment early can save an estimate of $225,000 with $800. to $338,400 per person by avoiding complications and secondary infections. Annual medication costs. Medication prices vary significantly based on whether a regimen is a brand name or a generic version. Brand name regimens mainly recommend once a day brand name pills. Example, Bacteri or Trumec. Cost between 36,000 and 48,000 per year. Generic regimens. Generic alternatives can reduce monthly costs to as little as $110 to $1,200 per month.
Goodness.
Injectable options. Newer long-acting injections like Cabenuva
Cabenuva.
can cost roughly 4,000 to 6,000 per injection, given every 1 or 2 months. Financial assistance. In the U.S., few patients pay the full sticker price due to various programs.
Wait for it.
Public-private insurance, most costs are covered by Medicaid, Medicare, or private plans.
So that Medicaid and Medicare we pay for, by the way. That's taxpayer.
Ryan White Program and ADAP. The AIDS Drug Assistance Program, ADAP, pays for medication for those with low income who do not qualify for the other coverage. Manufacturer programs. Drug makers like Gillette
Gilead.
and Gilead, and Viv offer patient assistance programs for those who are uninsured.
So, let me just ask you this. From reading both of those entries there, do you think they'll ever come up with a cure?
Hell no.
Billions of dollars annually. Billions. Oh man, what a fucking joke. What a fucking joke.
That's why there's not a cure for cancer either. It's
Dude,
the
same.
thing.
Absolutely. 100%. And all the treatments and all the cures that they actually promote are the ones that actually kill all your cells too. So it's like, okay, so I got something that's already killing my cells. Let me introduce something else that's going to kill more cells, and this is going to cure me.
Of course.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Ah, what a joke. What a fucking joke, man. Any questions for the next thing? Which I think is talking about Fauci. No, I don't know what we're doing. You're reading right still, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. HIV/AIDS research and development is primarily funded by the U.S. government. Oh, yeah, this is funding. So HIV/AIDS research and development is primarily funded by the U.S. government, led by the National Institute of Health, NIH, and PEPFAR. I don't know what that is. Alongside the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, good people, which together account for the vast majority of global investment. Other key contributors include European Commissions, private pharmaceutical companies, GSK, Merck, Gilead, and organizations like IAVI and AMFAR. Key entities driving research and development funding include public sector, primary founder, NIH, NIAID, as part of the National Institute of Health and National Institute of Allergic and Infectious Disease, is the largest public investor in global HIV/AIDS research. PEPFAR and USAID. The U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, and the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, are major funders, particularly for prevention and research and development. Did it say how much money? No, I think that's coming up. Oh, yeah, it's coming up. That's the thing you're going to read. BARDA, the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, funds advanced development. CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, supports operational and prevention research. Philanthropic organizations, Bill and Melinda Gates, good people, Foundation, the primary private donor, providing the vast majority of philanthropic funding for HIV prevention and research and development. I'll read that top portion. AMFAR, AMFAR, the Foundation for AIDS Research focuses on cure-oriented research. Oh, let's step it up, guys. Welcome, a major charitable foundation supporting research. Private sector and pharmaceutical companies such as GSK, Merck & Co., Inc., and Gilead Sciences fund research and development for new treatments, vaccines, and preventatives. So nothing about cures they're talking about. Multilateral organizations, the Global Fund invests in HIV, TB, which is that tuberculosis? I don't know, and malaria programs, heavily supported by U.S. funding, of course. UNAIDS coordinates global AIDS efforts. The U.S. government total investment in HIV, including research, has increased to over $28 billion per year. So go ahead and read that next portion.
How much taxpayers' money does it fund?
Fund.
HIV/AIDS treatment and research. The U.S. government invests over $28 billion annually in domestic HIV prevention, care, treatment, and research, when including global health initiatives like PEPFAR. Total federal funding exceeds $30 billion, with major spending dedicated to Medicaid, Medicare, and the Ryan White HIV/AIDS programs for treatment. Key funding areas: domestic care and treatment. Medicaid and Medicare are the largest funders, covering comprehensive care for people with HIV. The Ryan White HIV/AIDS program provides specialized care for medications to over 500,000 individuals, funded at roughly $2.5 billion. Research and prevention. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, receives over $3 billion annual for HIV/AIDS research, including vaccines and cures.
Well,
While the CDC,
cures, they haven't come up with one yet, so.
yeah, their excuse. CDC funds prevention and testing programs. Global HIV and AIDS funding. The U.S. allocated approximately $5.9 billion for global AIDS programs in 2026, largely through PEPFAR. Funding comes from both mandatory spending, rising Medicaid, Medicare costs, and discretionary spending approved annually by Congress.
I didn't know we were spending that much. Did you?
No,
How much do you think is siphoned off the top and given to their buddies?
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them, but
The thing that gets me, though, is probably Magic Johnson probably has, well, I'll say allegedly, Magic Johnson may actually have a cure himself, but he tells everybody that he's just living with it.
probably.
Wouldn't surprise me, man, because he's got the money and fame. He's probably a Mason, too. But yeah, any questions for the next thing, which I think this is going to be talking about Fauci.
No,
Okay. Yeah, it is. All right. So, what was Anthony Fauci doing during HIV/AIDS? During the HIV/AIDS crisis, Dr. Anthony Fauci served as the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, NIAID, from 1984 to 2022. Leading U.S. research efforts, pioneering treatment development, and advising presidents. He shifted to championing faster drug access and was a key architect of PEPFAR, a global program credited with saving over 20 million lives. Did they? Key roles and actions. Research leadership. He oversaw extensive basic and applied research to understand HIV immunopathogenesis, and develop therapies, moving HIV from a death sentence to a manageable condition with the right amount of money. Activist collaboration. Initially a target of criticism, Fauci notably changed his approach to collaborate with AIDS activists such as ACT UP, accelerating the release of experimental treatments. Probably what got him in the thing to begin with. Policy and PEPFAR. He worked with President George W. Bush to design the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, PEPFAR, in 2003, focusing on delivering treatments to resource-poor countries. Advocacy. He frequently advised federal policymakers and advocated for massive funding increases for AIDS research, moving from $20 million in 1984 to over $3 billion annually by the end of his tenure. I wanted to emphasize that last point there. Fauci later described his work on HIV/AIDS as the defining experience of his career, during which he shifted from working on patients for whom there was no cure in the 1980s to implementing global treatment programs. Wait. Shifted from working on patients for whom there was no cure in the 1980s to implementing global treatment programs. Motherfucker, there's still no cure for them technically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this lying to us, PBS? Okay, go ahead and read the next side.
Has Anthony Fauci helped cure HIV?
Yeah, right?
Anthony Fauci, MD, did not personally discover a cure for HIV/AIDS, as no universal cure currently exists. However, he is widely recognized for playing a pivotal role in transforming HIV from a nearly uniform death sentence into a manageable chronic condition.
With the right amount of money.
As a director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, from 1984 to 2022, he led research that developed essential antiretroviral
Retroviral, yeah.
therapies, ART, and helped create global programs that have saved millions of lives. Key contributions and roles in the HIV/AIDS response include development of effective treatments. Fauci oversaw the research and development of most licensed antiretroviral drugs, which enable HIV-infected individuals to live long, near normal lives. PEPFAR architect. He was key figure in designing the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, in 2003, with President George W. Bush, a program that has provided treatment to millions globally. Shifting clinical trial methods. In the 1980s, 1990s, he clashed with and eventually partnered with LGBTQ plus activists to change how the government ran drug
They weren't
trials,
called that back then, by the way. That's a new term. Go ahead.
which allowed for faster access to experimental treatments for patients. Scientific understanding. Fauci made significant contributions to understanding how HIV destroys the immune system, leading to strategies for immune reconstruction. Ongoing research. Throughout his tenure, he continued to work on finding a vaccine and a definitive cure to eliminate the virus entirely, allowing patients to stop daily medications.
So, did you know that about him?
No.
So, did you also know that Fauci. So, if anyone's interested, there's a great book by Robert Kennedy Jr. where he actually says the real Anthony. It's called The Real Anthony Fauci, where it actually goes over like 2020, goes over the like what happened during this time with the AIDS. But like I remember during all that stuff when everything was going on in the I think after the 2020s. Do you remember hearing about the dog thing where they had flies eating dogs' heads?
No.
No. Okay. So there, I'll put it in. I'll put it in there for you. But So like there's like even here from PETA.org, like I'll just read you the title here. It's Fauci's NIH funded tests include feeding puppies' heads to flies.
Wow.
They actually literally like put dogs and had the heads in there and they let all the flies just eat the fucking dogs' faces. What possibly could you be learning from this? This is terrible. But yeah, no, if you want to really look into Fauci, take a look at just type in Fauci gain of function in most searches, not Google. Google's not going to get you there, but like Yandex, take a look at BitChute, take a look at all these. Rumble should have some too. But like gain of function is kind of like what this whole HIV/AIDS seems to be. It seems to be a gain of function from the bovine. What was he talking about? The bovine visnovirus and the sheep one. Like gain of function would be putting that together into a human culture and then having it become something else. That's what gain of function is. It's gaining a function and jumping. So for it to jump to a human being an animal virus to a human, and then for these guys to just sit back and just fucking collect dough, unbelievable. After fucking getting everybody sick, makes me sick. It does make me sick. Oh, all right. Say anything you want to add about Mr. Fauci and his misdeeds? I'll say.
No.
Okay. So next thing then.
Yeah.
I would like for you to read this. I know it's long. I'm sorry. You feel up
Put
to
me
it,
together.
or do you want me to read it?
Put me together.
This is the last. This is the last thing, brother.
Nah, just messing with you.
Okay.
How many times has the U.S. experimented on the public without? This is a good one.
That's why I wanted you to
Without
read it.
consent.
Yeah.
The U.S. government has conducted dozens of documented unethical experiments on citizens without informed consent throughout the 20th century, particularly between the 1940s and the 1970s. Known cases include the Tuskegee
Tuskegee.
syphilis study, MK Ultra, mind control test, and deliberate radiation releases targeting vulnerable populations, military personnel, and civilians to test, um, how do you say that?
Pathogens.
Pathogens, the radiation and drugs. Key documented instances of non-consensual experimentation.
Which you can't have non-consensual sex without going to jail. Just as an FYI.
I guess we shouldn't say that.
It's true though.
Tuskegee syphilis study, 1932 to 1972. The U.S. Public Health Service withheld treatment from nearly 400 African American men in Alabama to study the progression of syphilis. Project MK Ultra from 1953 to 1963. The CIA ran a secret program researching mind control and chemical interrogation, often using unwilling subjects, unwilling subjects, including civilians and prisoners, to test LSD. Human radiation experiments from 1944 to 1974.
That's a long one.
The government authorized hundreds of studies involving the release of radiation into the atmosphere, often for weapons research or direct injection exposures of patients without informed consent. Operation Sea Spray, 1950s. The U.S. Navy sprayed Serratia?
Serratia
Bacteria
marcescens. Sure.
over San Francisco to test the vulnerability of the city to biological attack. Okay, that's good. Guatemala syphilis experiments from 1946 to 1948. The U.S. researched deliberately infected prisoners, soldiers, and mental health patients in Guatemala with syphilis, a project that was later apologized for. 2017.
Look how long it took. Look how long
Holy
it took.
shit.
60 years later, they're like, hey, sorry, guys.
70.
Is it? Okay, fine. Even better.
Yeah, almost 70. Willowbrook State School.
This is the best.
1956 to 1970s. Children with mental
Unfucking believable.
disabilities were deliberately infected with hepatitis to study the virus. What the fuck?
Willowbrook State School, 19. I just want to reiterate this. Willowbrook State School, 1956 to 1970s. Children with mental disabilities were deliberately infected with hepatitis to study the virus.
Military
Okay,
chemical testing. 1940s to Cold War. Thousands of service members were used to test subjects for chemical
My
weapons,
God.
including mustard gas, often without full disclosure of risk. An Associated Press review in 2011 identified more than 40 such studies
More than.
indicating the scoop went beyond the most famous cases. These actions prompt the development of modern ethical standards and informed consent, such as the Belmont Report. What the fuck?
Is this not ridiculous?
Yeah.
And this
I
is
think
just a
so.
small portion.
Yeah. And this is what they released.
This is what they want you to know about. Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't the shit that you didn't know about that they did to you too.
Exactly.
Like the AIDS outbreak. Unbelievable, dude. Oh, man. The thing that really pisses me off, though, is the Willowbrook State School. Don't get me wrong. They all irritate the fuck out of me. But to take children with mental disabilities and just fucking infect them with a disease.
Yeah.
Oh, 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 it makes me fucking sick. It does. This is our government, guys, and we let them do it to us. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that because it is without consent. So we didn't let them do it to us. But after we found out about these things, we didn't overthrow them. Like what? Like this here's grounds for dismissal. Like, you get rid of them. You get rid of them. You take them out of office. They're no longer in charge. If this is how they treat us, they're no longer able to be in charge of us. Like, let's stop right now. Oh, it makes me sick. Did you know about these? You heard probably about a couple of them.
Yeah, I heard a couple. Like MK Ultra is super famous. Also the other one of the
Tuskegee.
and the one with the military chemical testing. Like I knew about like the mustard gas and all of that too.
Oh, yeah. Well, the real question is, like, I want to say I think they figured that out with spraying and because that was big. Mustard gas was big in World War One, wasn't it? I don't think it was big in two.
I think you're right. It was World War One.
Because yeah, I think there was a lot of chemical warfare in one where they just fucked all of our guys in the trenches. Oh my God. You know, makes me sick. Makes me sick, and I don't know why we're not uprising. Like we need everybody. We need everybody to get together and realize how bad they've been fucking us. And they keep increasing taxes and everything else too, and it's like what's gonna break it? What's gonna break it finally, do you think, Eddie? Where everyone finally loses their mind and says we can't have these people in charge of us anymore.
I don't know, man.
You think it's gonna be a money thing?
Who knows?
Because here's the other thing. What if they wiped out? So say like tomorrow they said, hey, guess what? The dollar is not going to work anymore. We're going to another system. So everything you have invested in the stock market, all of your retirements, everything your 401ks, all zeroed out. That would probably do it.
Probably.
Like, I think that would be the only way to get everybody to like lose their shit and actually go up and demand that something change.
You're probably right, but
And if they told, well, here's the other thing. And if they told you that you have no money now because the dollar went to zero, but you still have to pay your landlord, and you still have to pay your taxes, that would do it.
of course.
So we've made you even poorer by bringing you down to $0. So now you got nothing, but you still owe us money. That would absolutely do it. That would abso-fucking-lutely do it. Everyone would lose their shit. Then everyone would be killing each other. That'd be the problem. But yeah, fucking wild, man. Fucking wild. So any questions before the next thing, which I think is the last thing?
No.
Okay. So, me and Eddie
Thank you for watching.
would love to thank you. Thank you guys for watching. I know this one was kind of a different one. It's kind of an interesting thing because, like, the World War II thing with Rudolf Hess is weird. Like, it's just weird, man.
It's just like the whole. It's just like it was just pretty much. It felt like it was just
fake
how
ass
to, like,
story.
yes, and how to like um pretty much how to steal funds. Like,
I think that
like,
was it, man. I literally
like,
think it was just taking money off the
it's
top.
pretty much that's all it is. Like how to like
$300,000 a year from the German government just to keep this one guy housed in this prison for fucking 40 years by himself. Like, what? Why wouldn't you bring him to other populations? It's weird on multiple factors because first off, he was in there with people before, but who knows? I mean, who knows what happened to the people that were in there before, right? Because there's no real who knows. So maybe they all left. But wouldn't any of them have stories about being with Rudolf Hess?
yeah, no, I know. It's just like legit how to rob like money 101.
I think so. And so you tell them you got your guy, your prisoner number 7. You got him just locked up in a cage by
The
himself.
one and only that nobody like. We need 45 guards to stop him.
No, we need 45 soldiers.
Yeah. Sorry, it was not even guards. It was actual
45
soldiers.
soldiers to protect this guy in this fucking
One prison.
12 room mansion, right? Isn't that what it was?
No, that was one of the locations that he.
Oh, okay.
Remember, he passed through like various locations.
It's true. That's true. And then they demolished the last one he was in as soon as he died. So fucking weird.
Yeah, no,
it's so fucking weird. And then I will say, as far as with the HIV/AIDS stuff, it does seem like it probably came out of a lab, and I would not put it past the scientists trying to find a fucking ultra killer. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because we don't most people, and it's because of how we've been trained. And you probably tell me if I'm wrong, but when most people think about scientists in a lab, they're thinking about cures and making something that's going to help the people, right?
Mhm.
I can almost guarantee you that it's the opposite. Like, it's probably, they're in there making like the worst case scenario diseases possible ever. Because that's the real question. It's, I guess, a chicken and an egg kind of thing, right? Do you make well, you can't make a cure unless you have a disease, right?
Mhm.
So it would have to be the egg first or the chicken first or whatever the fuck. So you would have to have a disease before you can even make a cure. So they're literally just what do you remember when what's her face? I can't think of her fucking name now, but she went into Congress and she was talking about the bio labs that we had in Ukraine and was worried about. Do you remember that or no?
No.
Okay, so there was, and I'll put up an article for everyone to maybe find. Biolabs Ukraine. Newland, yeah, okay, yeah, Victoria Newland. She was actually talking about. She confirmed that there was biolabs that the United States of America was funding in Ukraine to make like diseases and all kinds of shit. And it's like, you probably shouldn't have said that in front of Congress on C-SPAN, but she did because she's an idiot. And she's done stupid stuff like that in the past too. But Like, so you know that they're doing this. They're doing this stuff. They're trying to make diseases because they're still trying to get to what the Club of Rome wants, where there's very few humans here. They're trying to kill us all off. That's why there's fluoride in the water. That's why there's a million processed ingredients in our foods. That's why we're all unhealthy. Yeah, yeah. Why our insurance keeps going up. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just insane, man. It's just insane. Ugh, it really is bothering me. Like how much they take advantage of us and charge us for it. That's the thing that pisses me off more. Is that they fucking charge us for this shit. Like if you're gonna poison me, fine, give it to me for free. It's like, ugh, man. Fuck. Say, what do you think?
Yeah, no. I don't know. I do not know.
It's tough, right? It is tough. Oh, so what are you thinking? What are you at? What are you going to? You staying at 8.4 or are you going?
8.5. I'm not gonna.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, like the whole like there is some things like that I didn't know about, like a few topics. So yeah.
Yeah. I could see that's fair. That's probably fair. I'd probably even say 8.6, but 8.5 is fine. I'll take you at that. So Eddie's new threat level 8.5. He's excited about this chimpanzee.
We found it.
We did.
Chimpanzee.
We made it, guys. We made it. Oh, goodness. That's so fucking weird. So fucking weird. But yeah, I think that's all I've got. You got anything else you want to add?
No, just thank you. Thank you for being here. Another one.
Another one in the books, baby. We're on our way. What do we make it through? 32, right?
Mhm.
We'll be our 33rd degree Freemason next coming up. Jimmy Hoffa. So we got Jimmy Hoffa and Hollow Earth. Do you know about Jimmy Hoffa?
Hmm?
You've probably heard about Jimmy Hoffa, right? Or it's like they've made jokes about Jimmy
No,
Hoffa.
I don't not know who that is.
No? Okay, well then I'm going to leave you in darkness. You know about the Hollow Earth?
I think you mentioned something about it, but I can't. Right now, I can't remember on the top of my head.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave you in the dark on that one too. Because I've actually got some good videos I think I'm going to put for that one that I can think of right now. The Jimmy Hoffa one's going to be kind of tough because they still haven't found his body. So, like, that'll be an interesting one. But no, so that'll be coming up next. But no, yeah, like Eddie had mentioned, I appreciate it too. Thank you guys so much for watching. We do love you guys. We're gonna keep putting these out. We're gonna keep hopefully getting to some type of a truth, or at least some type of an angle to maybe look at things through. So, but yeah, thank you. We love you guys. We hope you have a great rest of the day, and take care.
Peace.